Revival House Network. What's up, everybody? Zach and I are here with this month's edition of the Cinema Enema podcast. Zach,
this fucking idiot. He ruined the party. This fucking idiot.
Tell him why.
We started doing this. We did 15 minutes of this episode, and he wasn't recording. Fucking idiot.
We get the honor of retelling the news we had already been into. So I don't know if it was 15 minutes, but we had talked about 3 fucking
That's how long
topics.
It was on my recording.
Okay.
Which I hit and you didn't because you're a fucking idiot.
You should have reminded me. You know what I always say?
Why would I remind you to hit record?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I always say, is everybody recording? Now, that should have like rung a bell in your head, or you should have just in case. We should always just make sure everybody's recording. I swear I've never done that before. Zach will say otherwise.
You have done it. You have.
Okay.
You did a whole episode where you never pressed record.
All right, so we're going to do our best to retread the last couple of news bits, the first couple of news bits we did. I might not go in quite as detail as we did before because we've already said this shit.
And you know what's fucking terrible is I said we could just use the backup. And he's like, no, fuck you.
Look, because we have standards here in the Revival House.
I don't.
We demand audio quality.
I don't.
You know, it's just one of those things. Dude, you know what? In the era where everybody and their fucking mailman has a podcast now, you kind of have to stand out with at least good audio quality, right? Back in the day, 10 years ago when we started, you could get away with it because we were all basement dwelling chodes anyway that were just doing this with fucking no real equipment. But nowadays, man, it's hard enough as it is to keep up with the Joneses. So I believe in audio quality. That's just me.
I don't.
That's just me. But anyway, so if you guys aren't familiar with Cinema Enema, we do these about monthly. It's how we've been doing them lately. And we first talk about some news bits that have been going on, and then we go into shit that we've watched. And then the second half of the show, we have a film topic, a film of the hour that we break down and just discuss. One that ideally one of the two of us at least has not seen before. We kind of watch it beforehand, do our homework, and we just have an in-depth discussion about it. So that's it. But anyway, we're going to go into these news bits and we're going to kind of start fresh again. Just pretend.
Before we get into that, I was thinking of something cool we could do to shake things up for Cinema Enema. You know what would be cool? Is if every maybe we set like a special thing where, on one of our picks, like maybe once every a year or so, we can throw a curveball and be like, you know what? We're going to do a trilogy. So my pick is this movie, and it's the trilogy. That'd be dank. And then, what else would be cool is if, out of nowhere, you know what? This time I'm going to throw out a band, and we got to listen to this album. That would be cool, too. We could fucking take your style and my style and interweave them.
That would be cool. Maybe, I don't know. Well, I don't know if an album would be the entire bulk of Cinema Enema. Maybe like a segment, maybe?
That'd be great. We could just go track by track.
I think maybe that's its own podcast, though, right?
Fuck,
it's not cinema. I think the series, the trilogy type thing is awesome because, we've had the idea for the longest time. I've had the idea, rather, to really have a podcast that breaks down Hellraiser 1 versus 2, right? And that whole debacle and really, really stacking them against one another. That's something I think we should put under Cinema Enema, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about an entire...
I'm breaking new ground.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think a lot of these ideas we've had...
You know what's great, too, is I always have great ideas, and I'm really good at making people think that their idea, my ideas were their ideas. Because you never had a good idea on any of our shows. Anything you said that was, remotely somewhat a good idea, it's because I planted it there maybe a year before, maybe 2 days before, but maybe even 5 years before when we started doing this. I'm really good at that.
Wasn't it my idea to have you even podcast with me? You saying that was the shit idea?
See, I fucking implanted that before that too. It wasn't even your idea to have me on the show.
Oh, so yeah, that's right. Zach was fucking buttering me up years ago. He was mailing me fucking Salute Your Shorts DVDs, planting the seed.
Exactly.
He was influencing me with goods.
Oh, by the way, did you see that new freaking Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray box set that's coming out? Now that I gave you that one, they're basically making a Blu-ray box set or a fucking 4K box set, and it's got all the versions too. But it's like $90.
Yeah. And did they actually announce the pre-order date though? Because I've been following that. Yeah.
Oh no. The box set looks cool though.
That's I see. They announced this some months back. Riverman and I have been talking about it like with each other, and I've been following the page because that's what they instructed to do because they hadn't released any dates for actual pre-order, and it's not in our region. Like I'm gonna have to import it, right?
That's funny because like whenever I told you I'd send you my old copy, since I'm not a huge fan of the movie, just to see what was going on. I eBayed it to see how much I could get, and I was seeing like $80, $90. I was like, fuck this, I ain't sending it to him.
Oh, really? I didn't fucking know that. Before I moved out here, I saw it at a secondhand comic video game type shop, and they were selling it for $20. I didn't know it was fucking that expensive.
No, I ended up sending it to him, but I'm stupid for it.
Was it really going for that much?
It was something. Something.
I'm not going to sell it, man. I mean, I actually like it. I always regretted not getting a copy of it. Riverman got it day fucking one, and I was always envious of it.
It's a dank set. Too bad they didn't do it with the better movie, Day of the Dead.
So I'm stoked for that 4K thing. Yeah, it's but thank God 4Ks aren't region locked, so I'm just going to have to import it. And I don't know what the deal is. Like, isn't it crazy how the big dogs can't get their hands on... Who was putting it out? I can't remember who it is that's putting it out. But these big dogs, they can't... Shout Factory and Arrow, they can't fucking touch Dawn of the Dead. Some asshole owns Dawn of the Dead that's always keeping that fucking shit held up. And for some reason, he wants to work with these people that he works with. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe fucking Arrow and all these people are just cheap. Because I have to think someone that's holding on to it has to be for money, and they, why can't they match? This guy obviously wants a certain dollar point, and they clearly weren't giving it to him. But I'm excited for it, and I need to check out the artwork too. Is it a cooler set? Is it as cool looking as the DVD set?
It's just the original artwork. I mean, you can't beat the original artwork on much of anything. Fucking, fucking, that's how it goes.
So that's a nice start to the news segment. We didn't talk about that before, so that's something new. There you go.
Yeah, before we get into the news, you got any new Blu-ray buys you got? Because I got the fucking, speaking of Scream Factory, I got that brand new fucking Pet Cemetery 2 and the brand new fucking Idle Hands, baby.
I got I meant to get the Pet Cemetery 2, and I kind of forgot about it, and then when you posted it in our little chat group, I was like, oh yeah, and I ordered it right away. So I had it the next day after you.
And I saw that fucking the original Sleepaway Camp is like $9 on fucking Amazon for Blu-ray.
Yeah, I got all three of those. But that's a good deal. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen Sleepaway Camp, fucking get that. That's really good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I've bought and see the thing is during this downtime, the quarantine shit, which by the way, we're going to talk about news here in a minute. It really feels like in the last month, 2 months, it's been real slow on the news front, unless it's not about the pandemic. If you look at the headlines on your favorite news websites and the horror websites, it's pretty pathetic. I mean, all they have to work off of is movies that are coming to Netflix. But because of quarantine, a lot of retailers have been running movies on sale and like flash deals and shit. I think because I know people are stuck at home. So I can't, what have I gotten? Oh, I'll kind of talk about it later, but I did buy The Invisible Man on 4K.
I watched that. We talk about that.
We'll have to talk about it because I did acquire that, and then I got Arrival, and because that was real cheap, I got it for like fucking dude. I go to Best Buy, right, and I have the Best Buy app, and they have their deals of the day, their daily deals, and they always refresh at 10 p.m. or sorry, I guess it would be midnight Central Time. So, and they're just flash deals, and sometimes they're thematic, like maybe it'll be all like household cleaning equipment, or it'll be like cooking equipment, or it'll be like media related. But I check it every single night, man, and they'll just flash like some Blu-rays that are dirt cheap, or a whole bunch of or maybe some games that are dirt cheap. I mean, I've got some crazy deals. And the really, really good deals, they'll sell out. They won't last. Like in a couple of hours, they'll be gone. But anyway, so I got Arrival because I've been really hard on that director for a little while now. So, and I haven't seen that one. Like I said, The Invisible Man. What else did I fucking get?
I got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Uncut Gems for cheap at Walmart.
Oh yeah, Blu-ray or 4K?
Blu-ray. I don't got a 4K TV.
Okay. So, fuck, I mean, Pet Sematary 2, like I said, I got like Zach did. I know I've gotten some other stuff. I got that Mortal Kombat animated movie, let me see, which I dug. What else did I get?
Did you dig it out?
Excuse me?
Did he give up that nappy dug out? Mortal Kombat movie.
Let me see here. I don't know what you're saying.
It's because you're a fucking beta.
You're speaking Spanish to me right now. I'm gonna actually check out my list real quick and just see, because I put some stuff in Voodoo. Let me see if I'm missing anything obvious here. Yeah, I don't know. I've gotten some stuff and I can't quite think of all of it, but those are the ones that come to mind. But yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of movies, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I don't know. Let's talk about the news real quick. Let's retread that. I think the biggest story is Scream 4. It feels like since the last time we recorded. Scream 5. Fuck. Forgive me if I forget that fourth one existed.
See, in our original other version of the intro that he wasn't recording, he kept calling it Scream 4 too.
Yeah, because I'm looking at my crib notes here and I wrote it down. I made a typo and called it Scream 4, so I'm reading it and that's where it's come from. But Scream 5, since we recorded last time, that went from being a rumor to being officially, a thing, and with David Arquette officially cast. So let's go back in time on this one a little bit. Just a few years ago, post Wes Craven dead, post Scream 4, they even asked Harvey Weinstein before he was in jail getting his ass pounded, is there going to be a Scream 5, or are you guys going to reboot the film franchise? And at the time, it was a show on MTV. It might still be, actually. I don't fucking watch MTV.
He was like, you know what? I want some younger pussy, so I'm only making a show on MTV so I can cast like 15-year-old girls. I'm going to get them to suck me off.
Well, he said at the time, he says, I think TV is the right place for that property. And from a business standpoint, it didn't sound unreasonable to me because, think about the giant gap there was between 3 and 4. Wasn't it like a decade? 11 years?
You just said fucking Harvey Weinstein had a good idea. What a fucking piece of shit. Next you're going to say fucking Hitler. No,
I didn't say it was a good idea. I said it made sense, I guess, because think about the gap from 3 to 4. And then now with this 5th one, it's like an 8. It's almost as bad. It's just a couple years off, like 8-year gap. I mean, the kids that are going to be your demographic going to a theater, hypothetically, to see it, if we have theaters by the time it fucking hits, they don't fucking even remember Scream 4. You know what I mean?
That's why they don't care. They're probably making it for people like us that do remember.
So they're setting the bar at a certain place for how much money they want to rake in with it. So it makes sense that they would maybe at least reboot it. I would have understood if they rebooted it, but the fact that it's a sequel blows me away. And so they announced it. And then they first announced that Neve Campbell was in talks to return. She was in discussions. And that's the last we heard of that. Yeah, and that was the last we heard of that. But then...
You know what they should do? They should cast Neve Campbell and make it an MTV movie. Get Neve from fucking Catfish. They both have the same name. It's spelt the same way, but it's not said the same way. Fucking mind blown.
No, I think Neve's name is Neve, and Neve is Neve. So
see, that doesn't make any sense. It's the fucking reverse. You think Neve would have an E at the end, and Neve wouldn't.
Yeah, no. See, that would have been a funnier setup for the joke you were trying to make.
Illuminati exposed.
Anyway, but yeah, like I said, she's in talks, but then they announced recently that David Arquette is officially on board. But so I don't... What if Neve doesn't agree to do the movie? Does it become a Dewey-led vehicle, or is he just
need to make it a joint vehicle? It's a fucking sequel to Scream 5 and a sequel to fucking Ready to Rumble and fucking Dewey.
Big ass 8-legged freaks.
Yeah, fucking Dewey's met with Sean, his buddy from the movie, and fucking the Ghostface Killer is Jimmy King.
They should get Ghostface Killer to be played by Ghostface Killer.
That'd be fucking Dank and Jimmy King. There's always 2 killers.
Well, that's the only thing they could do at this point. Like, what are they even going to do with Scream 5? Usually in these franchises, they don't have the same, protagonist.
I'm surprised one of the Scary Movies didn't do that.
Ghostface Killer as Ghostface Killer?
They had to have thought of that and just couldn't get him on the movie or something.
But I mean, like, most of these movies that stay, well past their welcome, they at least have different protagonists. You know, Nancy wasn't getting stalked by Freddy in every movie, and the Saw franchise, for the most part, targets different people. Neve Campbell.
It's different with Scream. You can't just throw in another Dewey. You can't recast those guys.
I know, but how
it reverses it because the killers are the ones that change every movie.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. How often can they really be going? How often could they really be doing this to Neve Campbell, and how often could, I don't know. But
you don't think Neve Campbell's pretty sexy?
I mean, she's not my type.
You wouldn't Neve her Campbell?
No, she's not my type. But
I want to Neve her Campbell and Bruce Campbell while eating a fucking bowl of Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
I don't know if they have a script done or not, or a draft. I have to imagine some kind of spec script is out there, but they're ready to amend it if she says no. Like, here's my thing. They've cast Dewey. If Neve Campbell says yes, then they've got this idea already on paper, roughly, that'll involve all the classic people. But if Neve says no...
if she doesn't come back, it should be Dewey trying to make a new... Like, he's trying to update the Dewey Decimal System. And, like, the fucking Ghostface killer gets pissed off. He's like, you don't fuck with that shit. And he's trying to kill him.
But I just think if she says no, then someone like Dewey, they'll just kind of make a glorified cameo and he won't be so crucial. That's what I think they would do. But yeah, like my whole point about the Ghostface killer thing, what are they going to do? What twist is really going to be worthwhile after they've done everything with Neve Campbell? Like, I mean, her fucking uncle, her cousin, her fucking sister, or fucking
Emma Roberts isn't really dead, and now she's going to fucking kill everybody with her tits out.
Like, they almost pretty much would have to make it a member of Wu-Tang Clan to be like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. But I don't know.
Fucking Matthew Lillard didn't die and he's back. He's amazing.
Well, and then so Matthew Lillard is funny. Speaking of news,
I'm going through a checklist of all the things we talked about the first time we recorded this.
And I know I would have forgotten it. He's like secretly reminding me. Like, he doesn't have to. It's funny how you're doing this is almost like a mental cue for me to bring it back up, but you're also bringing it up, breaking the fourth wall. Like, what's the point? Yeah, we brought this up before. But speaking of it being really slow in the news department, this is exactly the headlines you get during quarantine. You know, you have one of these middle of the road C-level interviewers that get to chat with Matthew Lillard, via Skype cam or something, and they ask him one of those headline baity questions, right? Because those guys gotta ask an obvious question so they can have a headline, so they can submit it to Dread Centrals and all those people, so they can get more notoriety and exposure for their little fucking podcast or whatever. Anyway, he asks them the dumbest question of the century that all of these podcasts ask, all of these fucking I'll do anything for a job actors, right? The answer is always going to be yes, mind you. Anyway, he asked Matthew Lillard, which this answer is dumb for a couple of reasons. If they asked you to be in Scream 5, would you say yeah? What would you say? For A, like I said, he's a working actor. He's going to fucking say yes. And B, as he mentions, his character's fucking dead.
He was originally supposed to come back for Scream 3, you said.
Yeah, so that's not. So he already confirmed that a little while back. I don't know if it was like a year or two ago. I think it was at a panel at a con. He was supposed to be in Scream 3. He was contracted. And the story was that I guess 2 was what it was, and then 3 came along, and it turns out that he was the secret orchestrator from prison. It turns out he had survived the TV assault, right, that we thought killed him in the first one, and he was somehow orchestrating some other killer or killers from the joint.
They could have made it a fucking. Speaking of Wes Craven, it's like it goes with Shocker. He whenever he died from the TV, he was sucked into the TV, and now he can communicate with killers throughout static television.
And he's smoking a fat ass joint with that gremlin that, suffered the same fate in Gremlins 2.
Hell yes.
And they're hanging out together. So,
what do you think of Matthew Lillard, by the way? I always liked him.
I'm neither here or there. I know him from Scream, that shitty Wing Commander movie, and Scoob!
Yeah, fucking the greatest Shaggy ever. And he's not Shaggy on the new one. That was part of the fucking interview.
Yeah. I mean, and that I don't understand, because he says that one kind of cut him a little bit. Like, why would they not call him? I'm like, when do they ever call the film adaptation people to do animated stuff?
He does do the voice on the new cartoons, which is funny.
Oh, so maybe that's why he felt slighted, because he had that clout, because he was also a voice actor.
Remember, your fucking phone's making your computer go crazy again.
Yeah, and I noticed it before you said that. I put my
Remember fucking how fucking Matthew Lillard was on a television show on Nickelodeon back in the 80s called Skate TV? He was hanging out with pro skaters. He's like, hey, this is Tony Hawk. Yeah, we're just hanging out skating, bro. See, they should put Matthew Lillard as a playable character in the new Tony Hawk Pro Skater Part 1 and 2 coming out soon.
Fuck, dude. And we're not going to talk about that because it's not a video game podcast, but I will say I'm fucking stoked for that. I'm so excited.
If I could play as Matthew Lillard, I will be fucking hard as a rock.
I want that right now, man, because Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, that is the ultimate put it on mute and listen to podcast type of game. I mean, obviously the soundtrack's really rad and all that shit, but I like those like games where I'm just kind of going for points, going for achievements and just...
Yeah. What about these stupid fucking Zoomers with these stupid ass fucking subhuman takes, the fucking zero IQ takes, that fucking skate is better than Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? Fuck you.
Yeah. No, I never saw that. So I'm all about it, man. And I think... I don't want to go off on a tangent because we've got films to talk about, but really quick, I'll say this. I know people are talking about Tony Hawk 3. I love Tony Hawk 3. Zach's like, why the fuck anybody give a shit about Tony Hawk 3? 2's the best one. Maybe I like Tony Hawk 3 as much as I do because they further advanced the mechanics. But my thing is, I'm pretty sure if these are remade, Tony Hawk, this remake of 1 and 2 is going to play even better than 3. You know what I mean? The mechanics will be so great.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully they bring back the fucking flatland tricks. You can do the pogo.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fucking great. And yeah, anyway, that's all we'll say about that. But yeah, fucking Tony Hawk is awesome. Anyway, done with Matthew Lillard talking about, Zach wanted to discuss something about Disney's censorship. Go into it.
Yeah, there's a movie called Splash where fucking Daryl Hannah, it showed her ass. And they fucking, they CGI'd so that her hair is longer and covering her ass. Looks like she's got a furry ass.
It's a Ron Howard joint. So that, I didn't know about this before he mentioned this to me before we started recording. And that's absolutely ridiculous to me. And I don't want to fucking speak ad nauseum on the topic because like I said, we just did. But
and
basically,
there was another fucking instance where fucking they blurred some girl's cleavage in the fucking Disney Channel original show called Wizards of Waverly Place.
Selena Gomez, yeah.
It wasn't even a kid in the movie. It was like a show. It was a fucking adult in the show, and they blurred out like the top of her dress, like you see her tits.
Look, they own these properties. It's their right to fucking amend and edit whatever the fuck they want to.
Was Splash theirs, or was that one of the Fox movies? They
acquired Splash. It was not a Disney movie, right?
See, they could just end up owning every movie and censoring them all. That'd be amazing.
And that's all the more reason why physical is still king, right? Physical copies. Because we're getting into this era now where, I mean, they could do it with games. If you download a fucking game that you used to love and they make it available on some store, they can go back and change shit that, you know, maybe isn't PC today. Who knows what makes those changes and the reasons why they do it.
The fucking Disney Channel Plus edited version of Die Hard 2 where fucking the guy at the end doesn't fall off the building and die. He falls into a big tub of cotton.
Zach, tell them what you get if you weren't careful and you don't own a physical copy of E.T., you might get stuck with that re-released theatrical version if that's what they end up wanting to stick on.
They changed the guns to walkie-talkies.
You know, and for all I know, that's what's going to end up on Disney Plus or something, you know, in the future. It's going to be that version.
Exactly.
Right? So...
why did they change the guns to walkie-talkies? What was the point of that?
Why do they cover up from fucking harmless cleavage?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, man. They just don't want to... they're like, well, how important is this really to the story versus is it worth pissing off a very small margin of people? Let's just change the guns, right? Are they... I never actually seen that version. Are they pointing the walkie-talkies like guns and it looks retarded?
There's one shot where they pull the guns out and like aim it at the camera. They just took that shot out completely. And so, like, yeah, there's people just sitting there with the fucking walkie-talkie. Remember they made fun of it on South Park, and they were like, Saving Private Ryan, where they changed the guns to walkie-talkies. And it shows a bunch of army guys shooting walkie-talkies at each other.
Yeah, I was about to say, in E.T., is there, like, any point in the movie where someone's pointing a walkie-talkie at somebody and they say freeze? And it's like, what?
And then they updated the fucking, like, UFO graphics, and then they added a deleted scene of them in the kitchen drinking Coke or something.
So I just don't think... editing stuff is the way to go. I think it does a disservice because they're selling this platform, or they were selling it on the fact that, hey, I mean, I think it's for kids. Let's face it. It's for parents with kids right now that want to watch Finding Dory. But for everybody else that's not a kid, it's like, hey, look, you want to relive your childhood and watch all your old favorite obscure Disney Channel movies, Disney Channel shows, or Disney movies from the 70s, 80s, 90s? Well, it's all here, just how you remember it. That sounds a lot better than, hey, we've edited it. So
imagine if they like one of my favorite movies as a kid was Homeward Bound. What if they we re-edited Homeward Bound and we made the dog's mouths move? And then it's like, oh, that could work. And then you watch it, it looks like shit.
Well, I haven't even bothered looking or anything because I haven't thought about this movie in years. But I bet you "Song of the South" isn't on there, right?
Exactly.
Which I get how times have changed since "Song of the South."
They could just make it a racist-free version, and it could be like 40 minutes long.
But I'm a little in between on something like that. Like, I totally get it, and I get why. At least I would understand, I guess, why they would not want to associate with that movie anymore if it's their property and as a company, maybe. But at the same time, history's history, right? Why? I mean, is it really any different? Why don't you rip out the pages of the chapter about it in our history books about the civil rights movement? You know what I mean? How's that different? Rip out of the papers all the slavery talk. I mean, history is what it is. It doesn't mean it's what's represented today. I just think I guess it's kind of funny because, you know, it displays sort of the house type slave or whatever, the guy that worked on the land, and he's happy. He's singing zippity doo dah zippity day.
They were all fucking super happy to be working for everybody. Like, not even paid. They were just cool with that.
Super, yeah.
Singing songs and shit.
God willing, the actor got paid. Mm-hmm. Let's hope. Anyway, so yeah, I'm more of I'd rather preserve stuff to a degree, you know, when it comes to history. I don't know, that's just me. But
do they like cut out those scenes out of like Dumbo? Because like originally in Dumbo, like the crows.
Yeah, the animal. Yeah, the crows. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think they did. I remember that was a big thing. That was a big thing.
There was a big black. There was like a weird freaking like black character in Fantasia that they cut out completely.
Look, I mean, they probably fucking cut out the most crucial scene in Bambi at the beginning when his mom dies because it's just too sad. Look, I've already said that they cut this out a long time ago. I love Muppet Christmas Carol. And they cut out one of the best scenes in the whole fucking thing because it just brought the movie down. It was too sad. You know, that whole "When Love Is Gone" scene where it's just depicting the moment where Michael Caine's Ebenezer Scrooge fucked up, where he pivoted, where his life changed trajectory and he became the Ebenezer old crotchety Scrooge, right? When he fucked up his relationship with his lady, his fiance, and she left him. And then you have Michael Caine watching it all, reliving it, and he's fucking crying. And it's pretty sad. Michael Caine can act even when he's working with puppets. And that's
the best acted scene in the movie. It's funny because if you watch the cut version, it's that fucking song's gone, and all of a sudden he's acting like really upset, and it's like you could tell something was cut out of that.
Yeah, and
then I looked it up, and yeah, that was where that fucking song was.
And not only is it, you know, you can't find that scene on Disney Plus. The only place you can find that scene is on the VHS tape. They took it out of the DVD when that came out years back. They took it out of the Blu-ray, and they don't even give you the option to watch it, like 2 versions. It is gone. So physical media is king, man. And I guess in this case, I guess YouTube has the VHS version because I don't have a VCR anymore.
Yeah, you can watch that scene on YouTube.
But you just can't watch the whole movie.
You can watch it until they find out and then copyright strike it at least.
Well, I'll watch the movie on Blu-ray on the TV behind me. I'll pause it when that scene's coming up, and then I'll have the fucking scene on YouTube queued up, and then I'll play it there and go back. I don't know. It's just a crime, man, because that really is the best scene in the movie. I love that scene, and it really is. It's a dig, man, when that's not there. It really hurts it. But anyway, yeah, censorship, it's bullshit. Speaking of censorship, which, by the way, real quick, before I move on to this, the Disney thing, it's proven to be a little disappointing because I have no idea what they're doing with the Fox properties. Fox, I mean, they have family-friendly shit too, but they have a lot of properties that are R-rated and adult content, you know, Die Hard, Alien, Predator. What are they doing with this stuff?
See, I want to see the Disney Plus edited version of Freddy Got Fingered. I think it'd be good.
When they announced, they had already announced Disney Plus before they acquired Fox. But when they acquired Fox, I was like, holy shit, Disney Plus is really going to be a force to be reckoned with because they just got everything now. But, you know, now that we have Disney Plus, they just want it to be a family vehicle. Everything's on there as PG. They're even editing their PG movies, right? So it's like, what are they going to do with the Fox shit? At first I thought, well, when it came out and there was no Fox shit, I'm like, okay, well, they don't need Fox. Because they have Star Wars, they have Disney, of course, they have Marvel, they have all this shit. That'll be enough to get their fan base installed. And then you know what? They're keeping Fox as their trump card when maybe a year later the subscriber base starts to flatten and level out, and then they want to get more people in. Now let's introduce Fox. But
until they flatten the curve.
But they've already technically integrated Fox, is what I'm saying. If you go on the interface, they've got it pretty streamlined, but they got it divided into categories to make it easy to search everything. But they have Star Wars, Marvel, Disney in-house, and National Geographic. So what they should have there is a big old Fox button. What do they pay fucking all that money for?
Hey, wait a minute. National Geographic, do they cut out all the times the animals fuck each other?
And what about
the long hair covering their balls?
And what about like the titties?
Exactly.
What about the native titties, right? I don't know. Anyway.
The small children cock.
Oh, God.
I was going to make a joke like I used to watch that shit all the time for the small children cock. But
no.
I thought, just say small children cock. That's funny enough.
But I'm like, you'd think they spent all this money to acquire Fox, and it has to be more than just to put them out of fucking business. I mean, they want to use that the shit. So they actually have Fox stuff on there, but it's just a couple of things here and there. So I guess it doesn't justify a whole button. They obviously were promoting Simpsons, right? They got and they have the Simpsons,
and they even fucked that up. They didn't show the whole picture.
Which they said back when that got a bunch of backlash when it premiered last year, that come January, February, it'll be fixed. They were going to fix it. And I haven't gone back to see if they did. But anyway.
I have. It's not fixed yet.
Yeah, fuck them. But anyway, that's like the new standard and it's fucking bullshit. But anyway, they also have a lot of those cartoons on Fox from back in my childhood. Spider-Man, X-Men. They have like all that Marvel shit. And I don't know if that's a Fox or a Marvel thing, but regardless, they have some Fox TV properties, but not much. And then, of course, the only Fox movies you have they have the Simpsons movie, which is Fox, and they have Home Alone 1 and 2, shit like that. I don't think Splash wasn't Disney. I don't know what Splash was, but you got to remember Disney owns Buena Vista, Touchstone, so maybe some of that stuff falls under that stuff. But anyway, they don't promote that stuff. Like, you have to just physically search like Home Alone and maybe you'll get it, because like I said, the algorithm's all fucked up. They give you 3 big categories that are Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, 4, and National Geographic. The only way you're going to find Home Alone is if you search it manually or if you go to all movies.
Why does Star Wars have its own category? Is it that great?
I don't know. They got a lot of movies, and they got the Clone Wars, and they got the series and Mandalorian.
If Star Wars has its own category, why doesn't Ernest P. Worrell have his own category?
Fucking got me, man. He's got just as many movies. He's almost got his own cinematic universe, right?
His movies are better. They weren't fucking, speaking of censorship, changed by the fucking hack director.
When they acquired Fox, they canceled everything they had planned. They had a new Die Hard sequel / prequel hybrid. Not that that's any love lost. I mean, fuck, but they canceled that. X-Men series canceled. They even had a movie they were coming out with, and that got fucking shelved. And they had, I think they were even going forward with another fucking Ridley Scott Alien Abomination. That's canceled. And it's like, okay, so you guys are canceling all that stuff that's in production. I'm pretty sure their idea is to eventually reboot all these. God willing, they don't make them PG-13 and try and make them family friendly. I mean, they now have it was Fox Searchlight or 20th Century Fox. Now it's, you know what it is? It's 20th Century Pictures. That's what it is. But so hopefully they just use that as a vehicle to still put out adult content, and they can just kind of, rake in the fucking dough from it, the profits.
They need Disney Plus porn.
What's the point of having something like Touchstone if they have Fox now to throw the adult movies under? Because Touchstone, that's what Disney always did. They put their more adult shit over there. I don't know.
Because you could touch yourself while you watch them.
So anyway, I don't know what they're going to do. I think maybe they're just going to use the Fox shit and make money off of it with leasing it to Hulu and all that shit and all these other companies, right? Streaming services, and part it out. Or eventually, maybe they will add it later on, or they'll do like Amazon, right? Prime, and they'll add like an add-on to Disney Plus where you can buy the Fox channel, right? It'll be some way to separate it from the kiddie content, something. But anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully they don't fuck up Alien when they get back to it. Anyway.
They need to make an Alien version where all the fucking titties are censored out, all the cleavage.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Anyway, speaking of censorship, go over it really quick. Recently, the week that we're recording this, there was an eagle-eyed fan that noticed the Netflix version of Back to the Future 2 had edited out the scene with the Ooh La La magazine, right? And they, of course, flipped shit. They went on Twitter. I think they tagged Bob Gale. Bob Gale actually rather swiftly, within a day, replied. He actually said, that's not a Netflix thing. That is a studio thing. Netflix just gets the movie straight from the studio and they put it up. They're not fucking touching mention anything or whatever. They're not in charge of that shit. Anyway, he said it was a studio thing, and he actually reached out to him when he heard about it from this fan, and it was just a fucking mix-up. That's all it was. He says it turns out it was a version that had gone to some country in Europe randomly that had it censored that Bob Gale wasn't even aware of. And that's the fucking version that they accidentally sent over the Netflix. And Bob Gale said he demanded and requested that they burn that copy. And supposedly they complied. But anyway, they fixed it. But by the time he responded on Twitter, he said it was already replaced. So if you watch it on Netflix now, ooh la la, magazine's intact.
That's sad. They burned it, so we'll never be able to see that fucking terribly edited version again. That's censorship too. They're fucking censoring the censored version.
I guess. Let's see. Other news. Let's bust through. There's got a couple more things I want to bring up. We won't talk about them as much, I don't think. Halloween Kills. I guess David Gordon Green said a trailer's coming soon. And I remember, I think a week or two before even that, the writer, I think it was the writer, not one of the producers. The writer says, as if it's a point to actually sell the movie, oh, this is the most violent and brutal Halloween yet. Oh. Dude,
They always say that.
Why is that a good thing? The original Halloween wasn't violent at all.
Exactly. You know what? I'm hoping this is finally the movie where fucking Michael's gonna fuck his sister.
Yeah, we get to see it.
We're gonna see that scene. They're gonna recreate how fucking Jamie, she was fucked by Michael Myers. We're finally gonna see it though, but only in the fucking producer's cut.
I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against Halloween 2. I know not everybody likes it. Obviously, they went violent. They went all Jason Voorhees in the original sequel, and I love the sequel. So I'm not against it, but I don't think that's something. It doesn't look good when that's what you're trying to say to sell your movie. But I guess they
see him actually kill a toddler in this one, not bitch out like last time.
Yeah, and that's fucking bullshit. I mean I'm not saying you have to show him or show any of the aftermath of him killing a baby, but they could have implied it enough to where we knew what happened. But to watch him just walk away like he had a heart, and because remember, the devil's eyes, right? No emotion. He's pure, concentrated evil. He shouldn't have a conscience of making decisions. Like in the first movie, they described him as a killing machine, just this automatic killing machine that just kills without reason, right? So why would he stop at a baby?
See, he should kill the baby, and then fucking Dr. Dre shows up to sing Guilty Conscious.
Oh my god.
He kills Dr. Dre and Eminem in this next scene. Show he don't got no conscience.
I haven't seen that music video in forever, man. That's TRL days.
It's amazing.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, never trust the writers or the directors or the producers of an upcoming movie they have stakes in, right? That they're their own hype men. I mean, fucking whatever, man.
See, if I ever make a movie, I'm going to be like, oh, I just watched the first cut of the fucking new movie. It was shit. You're going to love it. It's fucking terrible.
Your fucking stakeholders and your investors will be flipping shit, man. I get that.
Exactly.
They have to do what they have to do, but fucking, I'm just saying, take it with a grain of salt. They're going to see the movie. Fans are going to see the movie anyway. I didn't even really like the first one they just did that much, but I'm still going to see the next one because it's Halloween. And like, what do we have to compare it to? What else am I going to see? I mean, of course I'm going to watch Halloween. It'll be all right. Anyway, so there's that. Let's see. This is also, I guess, Paul, because they announced the Snyder cut of Batman v Superman. No, Justice League. Sorry. Everybody's been clamoring for that. Not me. I give two shits about it. But I guess like the internet at large has been clamoring for that Snyder cut because, the
internet at large is fucking retarded.
Because what happened is Zack Snyder in the middle of doing the flick, the directing it, his daughter she killed herself and it was very tragic. So they got Josh Whedon to come in and finish the movie. So he directed at least half of it, right?
See, the Josh Whedon part's probably better than the Zack Snyder part.
And then he edited it and everything else. So everybody was like wanting, hey, can we get like the original version? Or you know what? He might have finished it, but they brought Josh Whedon in to redo it for some reason, or I don't know. But everybody's been wanting to see his version. And it was one of those situations where an internet campaign worked because not only are they getting it, they've exclusively sold it to the new HBO Max coming out in a few days, and they're turning it into like a series because it's so long.
See, we live in a world where we don't have the fucking 5-hour version of Freddy Got Fingered, but we have this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's still gonna have that derpy fucking Superman with the mustache.
Oh, amazing.
But anyway, that's the thing. Anyway, in response to that...
It's funny how you bring up the best part of a fucking movie and act like that's the worst.
In response to that, like somebody asked Paul Feig...
yeah, a 3-hour version of his Ghostbusters movie.
No. Somebody asked him about that. He's like, so, talking about that, we got the Snyder cut. Or do we get this? And he says, yeah. He's like, well, actually, he says, there's a 3.5-hour director's cut of Ghostbusters. Like, I totally have it. Like,
It's like, fucking damn it.
And he wasn't necessarily being serious, but I mean, I'm sure he was serious that he has it, but I don't think he was serious about fucking putting it out. If he did, I mean, I kind of give him a pat on the back because that's the ultimate troll move, because he knows at this point everybody fucking hates that movie. That would be pretty funny, actually, if he started.
It has even longer scenes where I'm just letting them riff and they just go on and on. The scenes they don't move on. It's amazing.
Yeah. The last bit of news too is I think this is actually official. They announced a Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead remake. Mac will be very happy. Or not happy. Yeah. And of course the producers of it.
Max said like a subhuman IQ level stupid thing recently in our fucking group. He said, I would kill for a remake of Back to the Future with Robert Downey Jr. and some other dumb fuck. I was
Tom Holland.
I was like, that's the most Downey take you've ever given us.
So, okay. Now that was an internet thing too. There was like a small group of people that were saying, oh my God, they should remake fucking that movie, and they should cast Robert Downey Jr. as Doc and Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man, right? Iron Man and Spider-Man, Avengers.
Only if he wears blackface through the whole movie.
Yeah, and they should cast Tom Holland to play Marty McFly. I get it. Tom Holland kind of looks like a young Marty McFly type, but fuck. And I was trying to tell Mac, I'm like, look, that's just one of those movies you can't remake. Even if they want to and there's money, you just can't. I mean, not that I'm a huge fan of E.T., but that's like remaking E.T. You can't remake E.T. either. E.T. is E.T. Marty McFly and fucking Doc are Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. You can't remake that movie. There's a couple of other movies what other movie would you say you just can't remake? Even if Zach, even if you were an investor and all you cared about was money, I'm talking about a movie that even someone like you would have to say, you can't touch that one. You can't do it.
The Shining.
You can't touch. Yeah, you cannot touch The Shining. But
that's another thing. We don't have the fucking uncut version of The Shining, but we got a fucking 3-hour version of Ghostbusters maybe happening. Fuck this world.
And there's like I had other examples too. Like I said, this is my fandom aside. It has nothing to do with me liking or disliking a movie. Cause like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of E.T., but E.T. You can't remake E.T. E.T. He's literally on the logo for Amblin Entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. And he's
Nambla Entertainment.
What did I say?
You said the real thing. I just said Nambla.
Okay.
Which is the pedophile organization.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he's dolls. He's all this shit. You know what? Okay. You can't remake Forrest Gump, right? That's stupid. You just can't. You can remake Black Christmas 5 times. That's fine. And it doesn't. I'm not saying they're fucking good, but you can totally do it, and you kind of expect that's the type of flick they're gonna try and cash in on again. But who's good? I don't care if Forrest Gump was 26 years ago.
You couldn't remake The Godfather.
Yeah, and I don't care if another 20 years passes from Forrest Gump or The Godfather. You cannot remake The Godfather. You cannot cast somebody else as Forrest Gump. It just doesn't work. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, that was so stupid. But don't tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I guess you can remake it if you want. It's kind of a weird one to do.
Christina Applegate now plays the old babysitter that dies.
Yeah, fitting. She's probably petitioning for it. Anyway, what's it called? The producers that are backing it, they're selling it and justifying it, how they do. They're hyping it up, saying, you know what? He's like, that movie is timeless. He's like, people still quote that movie, dishes are done, bitches, and all shit. And I'm like,
did they watch the fucking new Jay and Silent Bob reboot and think that's real life?
Yeah.
Because they mentioned that.
Oh, I know. Stephen Coogan, and they have him on there and stuff.
Stephen Coogan, classic.
Yeah, and Stephen Coogan fucking aged like fucking milk, dude.
Oh, he's amazing.
He look fucking like shit. I guess age happens, time happens. But yeah, I never thought, I think it's on the cusp, right? It has its like cult following. But it's not the movie I would have thought they were going to remake, to be honest with you. And I don't think anybody's going to remember it. The small cult following that, quote, don't tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, they're our age or a little older, and they're not that big. You know what I mean?
House Arrest is better.
House Arrest, yes. I just don't. I don't know what they're going to do with that. But anyway, regardless, that's really all we had for news, man. So let's talk really quick about what we've seen of note lately. And what we, just anything of note. It's quarantine, man. I've been watching shit tons of stuff. I'm not going to go over all of it because it's not all good. So I'm just going to kind of pick some things that are notable. Zach, what have you watched?
You know what I watched last night?
What?
They did it on fucking Joe Bob's Drive, and I watched Heathers. What? You ever see that movie?
Yeah, I've seen Heathers. I like it.
Everybody talks about it. How it's a classic. I never got it. To me, it's like half of a good movie, and then by the end of it, it completely falls apart. It loses any sense of like the fucking any of the funny fucking shit that it had going for it. And yeah, I don't get it.
I watched it once. I remember the year. I watched it in 2012 for the first time on Netflix, and I don't remember the ending. I remember liking it fine. I don't remember too much about it. I remember it was a black dark comedy, right? It wasn't a horror.
Yeah, this satire was working for me, and then like by the end of it, it's just one of those movies where you're like fucking like you're like I'm on board with this, and then they just make a dumb decision. You're like, why'd they do that? Why'd they do that? And you're just asking that through the second half of the movie. Yeah, it never worked for me.
Well, so what else have you watched?
I watched Snowpiercer.
Oh, I fucking love that movie. What'd you think of it?
I think Parasite did it better.
So I have no idea what Parasite's about, so I don't know. But Parasite's a similar type of thing.
It's the same thing. Fucking basically setting up between the two classes.
Okay,
and shit.
That whole thing. So the same guy who directed Snowpiercer.
I think all of his movies are like that. Actually,
really. So I still have to see Parasite. It's on my watch list. But Snowpiercer. What'd you give Snowpiercer?
I gave it a 7.
Really? I think I gave it even higher marks. I might have given it a fucking I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it had a cool setting, had a cool pace. It was really cool. A movie I watched that, I don't want to cut you off, but since it's kind of on topic, that Netflix movie that came out that does the same fucking subject, that platform movie. I think
Platform, yeah.
Did you watch that?
I've heard about it.
Okay, so I don't know if it's either French or French Canadian. The whole thing's dubbed though, and it's really awkwardly dubbed. But it's all in French. You can tell they're speaking French, I think, and then they got English dubs.
Did you just watch the dub version? That's weird.
No, that's the way it is on Netflix.
Yeah, you can change like the like language and the settings.
Well, that's the way it was stock. It comes stock. Well, what it sounds like is. It sounds like they filmed it in French and they got the same actors to do their overdubs in English because they all have French accents. I think that's the way I remember it. Regardless, you like any dubbed movie, you kind of get used to it, and after like 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's the same principle. It's like whoever made that, they're like, hey man, let's make a movie that's like Cube, right? Let's do the same thing Cube does. Which Cube, have you ever seen Cube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a really good movie as far as, hey, here's how you make a movie on a budget. Every scene in the movie, every room in this giant cube was the exact same room. They just did camera tricks, right? Like they're not really entering a new room. It was brilliant. And Cube is very 90s. I think it came out mid-late 90s, and it looks like a 90s movie. It actually looks like the Leprechaun 4 set, for fuck's sake. But they don't go beyond their means, so it's very effective. It's not like they try and do a whole bunch of fucking crazy shitty CGI. But anyway, I think Cube's great. They kind of do that with this, where you can tell it's about a prison, and basically there's fucking hundreds of little rooms that are all stacked on each other, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a platform that delivers food. Right, one time a day to each platform for like, I don't know, they never say how long, but let's say a minute, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they could have done a Cube thing where it's the same fucking room, and when they're going up and down, they're just changing the set. Anyway, I just feel like somebody took a cue from that. But anyway, the movie itself is about hierarchy and society shit. So basically, every month you randomly they drug you somehow, and then you wake up and you're on a new random floor of the prison. Right. And it's totally at random. So, and the movie's about basically the food, they prep it at the top, and it's a huge banquet. But, let's say you're on any floor higher than like the 50, right? If you're sub 50, there's never any food left over because everybody in the top 50 levels doesn't give a shit about anybody in the bottom. So they never leave them anything.
Yeah, so there's like enough food for everybody, but it's setting up that like people are evil and they're going to take more than they need. They're
going to take what they want and they don't give a shit. They're going to overeat and shit like that. Yeah. So that's the whole fucking thing. But, you know, the people that are suffering and they go like a month on the fucking 200th floor and not eating, they might get lucky and then they might wake up on the 49th level where they have some fucking just almost worthless scraps to eat in there. But the thing is they don't learn because everybody kind of experiences it. And even if they've seen what the bottom's like and they get lucky and be on the top, they're like, fuck every man for themselves. And they'll shit on the people lower than them anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
it's one of those.
Now, my opinion was the movie's okay. I don't think it's great. I think it's the subtext is too on the nose. It tries a little hard. Like it's
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, from fucking the first 5 minutes, you know exactly what you're in for with this movie. And they really hammer it home. Like, okay, I get it. It's like, it's thick. It's not as good as a Snowpiercer or a Parasite or whatever. This movie is fucking right in your face with it. Like, we get it. Mm-hmm. I know who you voted for, right? Type of thing. Anyway, but it's fine. It's all right. It's not great. I would watch one of those movies we're talking about rather than that. But what else you seen?
Oh, I watched that fucking new documentary on Netflix called Have a Nice Trip, Adventures in Psychedelics.
Oh, okay.
See, me and Mac, we did our first Dank to Dust commentary. He brought some Wheaties over, and we did it, and we did a commentary that you'll hear someday. It's gonna come, baby. And then after we finished, we went in there and we watched that. It was okay, like a 6 out of 10.
I see.
And I've been watching TV shows. I'm on season 3 of Ozark. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I gotta watch that, man. I still haven't jumped on board. I tried watching one episode, and it was just so fucking dark. And I guess that's the way the show's supposed to be. And I'm like, I can't fucking see shit. I was like,
yeah,
I can't see nothing.
It's got the guy from Arrested Development in it, and yeah, at first, I was like, I don't buy him in this fucking dramatic role. He's too much of a fucking funny guy. And then the first episode, there's this part where something happens at his job and the shit hits the fan, and I'm like, I don't believe this at all. I don't believe he's scared for his life at all. But then as the seasons go on, he gets better, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I finished fucking The Deuce. Really like that show.
Yeah. Now I've talked to some people and they seem, they think it declines in quality.
The Deuce.
Yeah. As far as like, there's only 3 seasons. Now I think it's really cool if you're only gonna have 3 seasons that they separate each season by years, right? And they kind of go through all the eras. I really liked it, man. I remember I was speaking to Riverman about it, and he hasn't watched the 3rd season yet. And he's like, yeah, I didn't like the 2nd season as much as the 1st season. I get it.
I think I liked it better.
I liked it at least just as much. But I think Riverman's just really partial to that early 70s fucking extra grit. But I think it's cool. And you kind of see it on the wall. Like, that, okay, watch. I already called it. Season 3 was going to be about the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. I already knew it's like, okay, they're going to jump ahead further. And they can't talk about Times Square and all that shit and not talk about the AIDS epidemic, right? That fucking just ran amok between all this.
Yeah, that was the only bad thing about the series is like you could tell they had to hurry up and wrap it up. Fucking 3rd season.
Well, and I was telling you, I tried, briefing you on that a little bit too, but it's hard to fault the show. I think they did the best they could with what they had to work with because, like I said, they gave them a warning shot. They said, hey, look, they're not going to renew you. But we're going to give you one more season since you have a really good fan support, but it's just not getting the numbers we want. But the people that love you. So you get one.
What did you think of that last episode?
The last episode was fine. The whole, like the way it ended and he's in modern day and shit. And he's seeing all his gold ghosts. Yeah.
And
it's like, it's clearly everybody he's like seeing, like his brother and whatnot. Those are all people that have obviously died or died since the last time we saw him back in the 80s. And then anybody you don't see, like you don't see David Krumholtz, the director. I think we're just supposed to assume he's still alive, just like Franco is. And then you see, I had to do a double take, but that was his old fling that he passed on the streets in modern day, talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she's like a lawyer or something, I assume now, but I really liked the show. Like I said, I really wished
Who was your favorite character, like favorite arc?
Really quick on the topic of arcs, that's where it suffers the most that they only had one season. All these really big events were happening to these big characters we had grown to like or hate, and they were just kind of getting brushed over. Like when the that main hooker that turned into a porn star when she just killed herself.
She's probably that one. That was kind of sad. I didn't want to see that.
It was, but like I said, since they were so rushed, they were trying to tie up all these ends on these characters, these arcs they started, but they were really just expediting it. Like there wasn't, you know what I mean? It was too fast. Like I think if they had a couple more seasons, her killing herself would have been more of a thing. It would have woven itself into other things a little more, but they just kind of like, okay, done. She's wrapped up. He's wrapped up.
Frankie dying could have happened like, season 4 and then went on like another 3 seasons,
Yeah, exactly. And Frankie dying kind of sucks, but yeah, no, all of it. Like like I said, I don't fault. I think the guys who did that show, it's the same people that did The Wire. So, like I said, it's not bad writing. It's the fact that they were doing the best they could with the fucking time they had. But what could have been? But I actually liked season 3 and how they explored the whole pornography industry explosion where it became Hollywood. Right. And that's kind of cool. The whole Vivid Entertainment and doing like the fucking conventions and, and the style. I like how it became all about like the track suits and just, I liked watching the fashion change and shit too. It's kind of fun.
Maggie Gyllenhaal was probably my favorite character arc in the fucking director and everything.
She had she had the most impressive arc. Like everybody changed a lot. You know what? The pimp, I really liked the pimp in the second one where he was, falling in love with acting and he just never comes back in the 3rd season.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I did because, he's really getting into acting and he's starting to change his character. Like he doesn't want to pimp anymore. And he was never like the most brutal, he was probably the easiest of all the pimps. The one I liked how, what's that? I forget their names. The pimp that was the biggest jerk, right? That got killed by the fucking brother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
Which I liked all that stuff. But yeah, and I was like, okay, I want to see him in the 80s too. And now he's like a big porn star. And I read up on that after I watched the series and they just straight up couldn't get him. They said when we were filming the series, he was doing some like fucking play and he was tied up and he just couldn't make it. So
see, I was thinking like the one that killed herself. I was thinking like whenever season 3 happened, they were going to do it like, oh yeah, now she's living in Hollywood and she's kind of broke out in the mainstream movies, and it's going to be kind of like
Tracy Lords,
a contrast thing where she finds out like, oh, before she was having to have sex on camera, now like she's having to have sex to get roles because in Hollywood, like these fucking scummy assholes and all that shit. That would have been interesting.
But it was also kind of cool that they did it the other way. And they shined a light on how the porn industry really is, where it doesn't matter who you were. You eventually kind of get old after a few years and you have to resort to doing gross shit to stay in the game. Right. That's why they say, if you're new into the adult industry, don't out of the gate agree to do fucking anal and fucking double stuff anals and all this fucking heinous shit, because you got to have somewhere to build up to, because the lifespan of porn is what they say like 2 years, a year. Like it's nothing, especially nowadays with the internet. I bet you it's even lower, like because they have just so many girls in droves. But start off small. Like think about it. Mia Khalifa, right? Obviously she was all over mainstream news because of how she got famous and the hijab and all that fucking shit. But anyway, she never. I don't think she ever did anal, and she didn't. She wasn't in the industry long. She literally did. She said that. I think she was already done with the industry when she blew up. She literally did. Yeah. She only did like a movies for like a month or two. And of course she probably filmed like fucking 10 in a month, but that's like all that circulates online. And she wasn't doing anal or anything. I mean, her stuff's, I imagine, pretty tame compared to the stuff that's out there. And she was more about the controversy around her than anything, her character. Anyway, had she stayed in the industry, she would have been doing fucking grosser shit. She would have had to go, because she's old. She would have to go to anal. She would have to do gangbangs. She'd have to do all this fucking extra demeaning stuff. They've had some pretty cool documentaries on that, like the porn industry in the day and where they are all now and how it reflects on them, and the porn industry today, like like the Craigslist porn, like come down to Miami, we just need girls to do like this fucking bang, how they extract girls from small towns in the Midwest. And it's pretty interesting stuff, but I like how they explored that and just, It was interesting too. It was interesting to see how it all started, and then how, like anything else, Hollywood, big corporations going to get their hands on it, and you kind of have to roll with the changes. You know, or you're going to go the way of Best Buy. Or not Best Buy, fucking like Blockbuster Video. You got to roll with it.
I was bummed too at the end. Fucking Maggie Gyllenhaal's character, died. She pretty much throughout the whole series wanted to, like, she was building up to, like, oh, I want to make real movies. I want to break out. And then she starts doing it. And then, like, she's afraid she's going to fail. So she, like, abandons it. And then, like, whenever we get to the end, we find out, oh, she finished it and she ended up dying. And then after she was dead, people, like, found it and discovered it. And it became, like, an art house classic. And I was like, that's fucking sucks that she died not fucking, not knowing that people liked it.
And it's really depressing, isn't it? Because it's like, whatever it is, you or me or whatever our passion projects are, man, it just like sheds a light that, oh man, you know what? It might not ever happen. Or if it does, you'll never be appreciated for it. It's like all the Renaissance artists. They all died poor.
Yeah, you know? Like, and the end of it, doesn't even matter that she doesn't know, because that's all she did it for. Like, all of us just want to fucking leave our mark on the world and let people know we were here and we existed. And, one day that could be this podcast for us. Like, they could be listening to me making goofy jokes about fucking kids. And, like, that guy existed. And,
good Lord, he's dead. Thank God. No,
exactly.
But, I really liked it. And I think I've always said that I think a really good series, you can wrap it up in 3 seasons. You absolutely 3 to 5. I don't think most series should go past 5 seasons, and I think they could have did that with this, but they didn't know they were only going to have 3 seasons. I think had they known from the get-go, hey, this is going to be a limited 3-season run, write it accordingly, they probably would have did it differently. I think they would have. But the way it was pacing out by the end of season 2, I think it should have went 5. I think, but yeah, it was really, really good and a great cast. And I like that guy, David Krumholtz, right? That's the guy I did that live with, right? And I embarrassed myself.
Yeah, I wish we had fucking video evidence of that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was kind of embarrassing. But anyway, he's great in it, and his character's great. And especially when they write in his weight loss, it's just like, oh fuck, he lost a lot of weight, and they just went with it. But everybody's asked him, because he's been doing a lot of Instagram lives, and it's come up a lot. Like, how'd you lose so much weight on the Deuce from season 1 2? He's like, oh man, well, I was like, basically he got sick. He got this illness, this disease from smoking too much pot that made him. No, he's serious. He's like, it was miserable. He's like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. He's like, but it makes you chronically vomit. Like, and I was chronically dry heaving and vomit. It wasn't like a stomach flu. I was vomiting for fucking a month straight, and I lost 110 pounds. No shit. He's like, it was terrible. He ended up, of course, putting, he's not like he was, but he's not as skinny as he wasn't too either. But it was a product of being sick, and he had to quit smoking weed. He actually told a cool story at my request too, because I still go on his fucking live things even after that video chat. I don't care. He's really funny and he has good stories. And he's one of these guys that he's not an A-lister, but he's been around for years and he's worked with like everybody. So he doesn't really give a fuck. He'll be blunt about like stories and shit. He's not an A-lister where he's gonna piss off people. So and I asked him, I said, do you have any like cool stories? Have you ever met anybody? Like, give us some dirt. And he actually laughed. He says, yeah, man, he had a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was dying laughing. And he told this story. And at first, it was funny, after he told the story, he's like, oh, can you guys record these? Like, am I talking shit on people and you guys are going to throw out?
Yeah, you could have been recording while you were on it.
Yeah. And anyway, because he was thinking like, do I say that? He's like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. And he'll tell it anyway. But he's like, so there's a set, right? We're on set, and Arnold comes out of his trailer, and there's, I don't remember who it was, like some kind of set hand or line producer, some female, right? And he comes out of his trailer, and she says something to Arnold or whatever, and he goes, I give you 73. And she's like, what's 73? He's like, 69 with 4 fingers in your ass. What? And he's like, it was the most fucking bizarre thing in the world. He's like, because basically the rumors about him being a womanizer, he was just backing him up because he was a big womanizer back in the day. And he had so much fucking big dick confidence, right? But he just randomly says that to someone he really doesn't work on a professional level, somebody he's working with. I'll give you a 73. A 69 with my 4 fingers shoved in your ass. And he was just dying laughing at that. He's like, dude, I fucking love that story. He's like,
amazing.
But yeah, man, that was your California governor.
What if he said that to fucking what's her name on the set of True Lies?
I don't know.
Said it to fucking what's her name?
Oh, Eliza Dushku?
No, they had
Tom Arnold?
No, his co-star.
Jamie Lee Curtis. No, but it just goes to show. I know he's had his jabs with Trump, but he's never tried to throw stones at that glass house of the sex stuff, because Arnold can't. Arnold's a great dude, but God knows, everybody, he's got a reputation with that. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty funny story. Do you want to hear what I've been watching?
Go for it.
Obviously, I watched The Deuce as well, not that long ago, but I watched fucking some bad movies. I watched this. I'm a sucker for movies that I find that are just like in a fucking digital graveyard that star known faces, but I've never heard of the movie. I don't know why. Usually I would say no, but it's like, oh, I know that guy. I'm oddly curious. And I watched this movie called Don't Tell Her It's Me, and I'd never heard of it before. And it was this, I think it was 80s. I don't think it was early 90s. I think it was late 80s, and it was starring Steve Guttenberg. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it was a rom-com with Steve Guttenberg in the lead role. His sister was played by Shelley Long, and the love interest was played by Star from fucking Lost Boys. Yeah. Anyway, so I see this fucking cover with Steve Guttenberg and fucking Shelley Long. I'm like, oh God, like this just looks, and I watched it and it was all right. It was typical rom-com fare. It was, 6. I don't mind those movies. They're fine.
Beta.
I don't mind some rom-coms because I know exactly what they are. They're fucking just drivel, turn your mind off. I know what to expect. I watched, I talked about this on BTM, but I watched Enemy because I'm going through that filmmaker. I can't pronounce his name right now. How do you pronounce his name?
What'd you think of that movie?
I liked it, man. Denis Villeneuve.
Big spiders.
Yeah. I think there's a line there. I'm not somebody that
if you walked into your room at the end of the day and you saw that big ass spider, what the fuck would you? I'd shit my pants.
Yeah. Well, so are you familiar with Movie? That streaming thing, Movie? Okay. So I think it's called Movie, and it's basically a streaming service that's nothing but art house movies. Like obscure art house movies, and you don't get the whole library. You get like fucking 10 movies or something, and they rotate them out every 30 days. And they're obscure. It could be some fucking movie that was made for $10,000 in Australia. It's the most hodgepodge shit you can get. There's a demo that likes all that super pretentious shit. I can only take so much of it. I think I really like this director, and I there hasn't been a movie I've seen of his yet that I haven't really liked or I've given high mark. I think every movie I've seen has at least been an 8 by his. I like he's really consistent. And I watched this and I liked it. I think I gave it a 7. It's right on the line where if it would have gone any further with its weird ass subtext, it would have been too much for me. Because it's one thing to make you think, but when no two people on this fucking earth are going to have the same opinion, I just think it's too much. I don't know. It's hard to make, nobody can explain the spiders. I don't even think the fucking director can explain the spiders. They've interviewed about it.
I don't mind that. Whatever. You're not supposed to take everything literal. See, apparently he made all the actors sign an agreement that they wouldn't tell the meaning of the spiders.
Okay. I think,
So if there was no meaning and he didn't know a meaning, he wouldn't have had him sign that.
But the movie didn't go that far. I still liked it because it was super tight in pace. I think the movie was fucking 90 minutes. It was not too long. A movie like that, if it would have been longer, it might have hurt it. But even though I have scratched my head at some of the shit I was seeing, I was constantly engaged. There was enough tension constantly. And Jake Gyllenhaal was a great actor, and it just had me fucking saying what the fuck throughout the movie, and it kept me in it. So I liked it. At the end, like I said though, I was thinking about it the next day, and it's just, I don't know. I like being able to form an opinion about a movie, even if it's to debate. But I really couldn't form an opinion on what was what at the end of it. It was like an I don't know.
It's a movie that you gotta watch more than once, baby. Maybe you'll watch it again. You'll be like, I get it now.
Well, there's those movies, right, where it has the ambiguous ending. Like, did he die or did he live? Well, you decide. The choose your own ending. At least then I can formulate my own opinion on what I think would have happened. This one, though, it's like, okay, is it Jake Gyllenhaal's character? Was he really just dual personality? Was he a guy that was cheating on his wife and this was representing his double life? And it kind of, and because you never saw, it was like a fight club. You never saw the two in the same room without anybody else, right? Mm-hmm. And then even like when the wife of the actor brother met up with him at the school and didn't tell her who she was, the phone rang, but he didn't start speaking until he turned the corner. Right. So, I mean, there was all these little things that were kind of doing a fight club. And I was like, well, maybe. And the subtext would make sense. But at the end of the movie, when the good one or the teacher was fucking the brother's wife, there was still the news bit on the news that the car crash happened. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I guess that had to have happened. So it's like maybe
or is it just another car crash? They live in a city.
Possible. I don't remember how much detail they gave on it, but it was just, but then that wouldn't explain. What did it explain? See, it's so fucking confusing. Like there's so many things in the movie that didn't make sense where I was following the notion that it was the same person, right? Like why the reactions he was making were not human, right? If for example, if your brother, you just met this long lost twin. First of all, when they first confronted each other, they weren't acting natural. If you found somebody that was your long lost twin, you would be like, dude, you'd be fucking blown away, but you'd be like, well, let's go sit down and chat. But they were both acting like something was up. Like they knew something we didn't. And it was very odd. And they were socially awkward. And then the second time he sees him after the first time was really fucking awkward. The dominant one just says, I'm taking your wife out. I'm going to fuck her and I'll bring her back and you'll never see me again. And he's just the fucking beta and he just lets him do it.
See, that's what I would have done. Be like, okay, call me when you're done.
I mean, like, it's so fucking weird. So it made it.
See, what do spiders do? They spin webs. They trap things in there. Was his wife, was he thinking of her as like, oh, she's fucking, she's just like, I can't do anything. She's making me hang out with her all the time. Fucking, let me go. Fucking,
What was she wasn't happy. The wife of the actor wasn't happy. And like I said, if it was just him being crazy in the dual life, she differentiated the two. Because she actually met with him as a teacher, and then she clearly knew she was not fucking her husband, and that she was with the brother, right? But she was even acting weird about it. Like nobody in real life would just be like, you know what, I'll go with this. I won't say that I know who you are, and you won't even let me know, and we'll just kind of like unspoken be cool with this. It's so weird. But what was the significance of the sex club? The weird stonecutters fucking underground sex thing. Now, and then, he gets the key at the end, and he's going to the sex club. Like, what is it? What's your take?
The sex club it represents
if he's the same person, like maybe the sex club is just feeding his wandering notions and him cheating and living the stuff. But if they're different people, I don't get it.
It represents his repressed sex desires. That he was imagining he was another person because he has rape fantasies. I think he wanted to fucking rape his wife. I don't fucking know. It's been a while since I've seen it. We should do that on an episode.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind. It's a fucking tripped out flick. But anyway, and yeah, I think I need to watch it again because I think I will get something else out of it. What else did I watch? I watched Tiger King, finally. I was like a fucking month late.
I watched that too.
It was a trip. I pretty much binge watched it. It was, you can't believe people like this existed in real life.
See, he didn't crack the top 10 of my crazy-o-meter. I've seen crazier.
Well, I don't think he's crazy in a malicious way. I've seen way crazier, but just weird. Like weird.
He's fucking batshit. But yeah, I've seen crazier. Like that guy I sent you a video of. He's like, oh, fucking great value, Jesus, Father. Fucking the great value down the center is Jesus and the Father. And this is a grapefruit cocktail, by the way.
Bro, after
I watched it, I was like, I gotta try that fruit cocktail.
Well, after watching Tiger King and all the fucking weird videos and music videos he would make and stuff, it just made me think, you know what? Netflix needs to hire and buy the Corey G Karate Mart story and this weird lucha guy.
Exactly. You know what you should have done? You should have watched Don't Fuck with Cats first because it's the better documentary.
Well, then it's probably good I watched this one first then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I'm leading up to the headline.
Just imagine I said that I said that instead of the other way around.
Well, I'm looking forward to watch. I put that on my list too because when I saw this, it reminded me like, oh, Zach keeps talking about that. I watched. I liked it though. I enjoyed it. I watched Pretty in Pink. You know, I never saw it. The John Hughes produced classic. It's a teenage coming of age rom-com. It's a 6 out of 10. It was fine.
Why she never fucking spread her legs and revealed her Pretty Pink though? Yeah, that's false advertisement.
Bait and switch. I watched the Michael Mann flick Public Enemies. You know, Johnny Depp, Christian Bale. Did you ever see that?
No.
It's recently added to Netflix. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was good. I liked it. Let's see. You were talking about fucking watching Joe Bob. I finally see. Here's my thing with that, dude. The Shutter app on the Fire Sticks. That's what I have in my house, dude. It is fucking ass. So, and it hasn't worked in the last few days. I can't get it to fucking restart. And usually the trick of pulling out my Fire Stick, letting it refresh, putting it back in, rebooting everything, that can work. I tried deleting the app and reinstalling. It doesn't work. It will not boot the home screen. It's just, it's fucking frustrating as hell. Like I can never get the only place Shutter is 100% reliable is on PC. My PC. That's it. And it sucks. My browser.
My Roku works good.
Yeah, I mean, good for you. But anyway, I was able to get on it a few days back, and I watched. You know, I don't watch everything in sequence. I cherry pick, right? I'm whatever. But I watched the brain damage one because that's what I was in the mood for.
Brian Damage,
and that was a lot of fun. I liked it. I want to watch which ones did he do on this season too? Which ones? I can't remember. There's another one I wanted to see next.
Yeah, he just last night he did Exorcist 3.
Yeah, and I watched that recently, but I would watch that. I'd like to hear his commentary on it. But anyway, I'll see if I can boot it up. I mean, fucking, it's unreliable. Let's see what else. I watched that Guy Pearce fucking movie that Luc Besson produced, a Lockout movie, the one that was all controversial about, you know, that John Carpenter sued for ripping off Escape from New York, and he won the lawsuit.
Oh, I don't know about it.
Okay, so you don't know about back in 2012, this movie called Lockout came out. Guy Pearce, and it takes place in the future.
Isn't he the guy that cooks food and looks like the guy from Smash Mouth or something?
Guy Fieri? No.
Oh.
Guy Pearce was in Memento. Right? And he usually does, you know, he's more of a dramatic actor. You know, he does so this was an action movie. So it was kind of weird that I remember when he was the star of this movie, it was like kind of off-putting, like Guy Pearce. That's probably how people felt when Liam Neeson was an action star all of a sudden. Like Liam Neeson, the guy from fucking, you know, Schindler's List. Mm-hmm. Right. And maybe for all I know, this is probably why Guy Pearce took the action role, because one of his fucking agents said, fucking look what it did for Liam Neeson's career. Right. Mm-hmm. Go action. Anyway, the movie, I don't think did well in the box office. And it was what took all the headlines was that fucking there was a lawsuit. John Carpenter sued the fuck out of him because he said the movie was fucking beat by beat Escape from New York, minus a couple of little changes. And then he sued him and he won. And they had to pay, he was suing him for like $200,000, him and Nick Castle, because Nick Castle helped write, right? Escape from New York. So him and Nick Castle were suing for like $200,000 and maybe like some kind of credit. I'm not sure. But anyway, it ended up shooting Luc Besson in the foot. Because if you want, and I had to watch it because I've been curious. I'm like, I have to see, is this really as bad as it was said to be as far as like a total copy? And when it comes on, it was written by somebody else, like screenplay by fucking Ernie Burt, fucking Big Bird, whatever. And then it says based on an original story idea by Luc Besson. And that's where he gets in trouble, right? Because Luc Besson didn't even write the fucking... Luc Besson did Fifth Element, right? And he did... did he do Fifth... I think he did Fifth Element. And he did The Professional, right? Anyway, Luc Besson is a writer in his own right, but he didn't even write this thing. Somebody else wrote the script. And
John Carpenter did.
But it's just based on an original idea by Luc Besson. Who puts that in the fucking thing? Yeah. Like... He didn't even write the story, like the story credit, and hire someone else to write the script. He just had the idea. Anyway, regardless, so I had to watch it, and I was skeptical because, like, I know how the copyright shit stuff like that goes. Your copyrights, you can't copyright an idea, right? I mean, otherwise, we couldn't have blockbusters like Twister come out, and then 6 months later, Sci-Fi Channel puts out Tornado, starring Bruce Campbell. Right? They do this on purpose, and we have all these. You could probably think of a million, right? These fucking shitty movies that come out on the heels.
There's a film company that makes their whole like business model around that. They call it mockbusters. So when the Omen 666 came out, the remake, they had fucking 666 the Child or something come out, so that it's on the fucking at Family Video, and you see it and you're like, oh, I heard about that movie. Fucking Pacific Rim, they had like Pacific something else.
Yeah. So I watched it and I'm like, all right, well, is John Carpenter just being a fucking old man about this? Like, can you really sue him? Which, by the way, it shot him in the foot. They sued him and Nick Castle for $200,000. He lost the case, but then he fucking, what's the word I'm looking for?
Appealed it or whatever.
Appealed it. He appealed it, and it ended up blowing in his face because he lost the appeal, and they ended up getting like $2 million from him. And then they had to I had read that they now had to give him credit. So I read that when you saw the movie now, and when it got pressed for home release, it now said based on Escape from New York by John Carpenter and Nick Castle. That's what I read. But on Netflix, it doesn't say that. It still says original idea about Luc Besson. But apparently they got fucking extra paid when he appealed. But I watched it, and I don't know. I think it's... I could see where John Carpenter was coming from, but I don't think I would have bothered suing, because where do you draw the line on that? Right? Because he was getting them on actual story beats.
See, he should have done the same thing for fucking Friday the 13th. They admitted that they were just ripping off Halloween. Well, so here's the thing. Yeah, that's exactly the example I used. I'm like, well, if he can sue for this, Friday the 13th could have been sued by Halloween. But he came, I get it. There's more to it than that. Like, it's more story beats. This movie... Maybe he ran out of fucking PlayStation 3 money and wanted to buy some new games.
It is a lot closer. But I don't know, man. I still feel... Even if though it's really borrowing a lot, I still feel like once you fucking change names and change this and that, like, you can't fucking... I don't know. But here's the similarities, right? So... Escape from New York. They've turned the island, New York, into a prison colony, whatever. Just fucking send all the riffraff over there. And he has to go in there and rescue the president, right? And, he's got that thing that's going to kill him if he doesn't, right? Okay. This one, the space is a space colony in outer space. So it's like Alien 3, right? So it's not New York. It's in outer space on a ship or something. But it's still same concept. And he's not saving the president this time. He's saving the president's daughter. So there's beats like that, and I want to even say the similarities in
fucking Resident Evil 4 could have sued him. Fucking Alien could have sued him because it takes place in space.
But there's more than that, right? Because the same guy that briefs him is interested in this briefcase. There's a briefcase that has some weight to it.
Briefcase, Dumb and Dumber. Fucking Fairley Brothers sue him.
But I kind of see where he's coming. Okay, I see where he's coming from. Like, he really did take the blueprint like a lot, but I'm really shocked they won the case. That's all I'm saying. But it is kind of like shitty. And even they try to make him a Snake Plissken. Dude, fucking guess what the first scene in the movie is? I rolled my eyes. The first scene of this fucking Lockout movie is him getting pulled in. Did I mention he was in prison? And he's saving the president's daughter this time to get his freedom, right? What does that sound like? Escape from New York. But anyway, the first scene, they're pulling him in, he's in lockdown or whatever, and they're propositioning him, right? And he comes in and he's got the cigarette. It is the same fucking scene, dude. And he's like giving the one-liners like he's Snake Plissken, but he's not giving them as good. The dialogue is kind of hokey. It's like, it's kind of fucking try hard. But that's what he sued him for. It's like the beats were the fucking same. It's like, what the fuck? Even the characters. It's like the setups were the same. They basically just took a skin. They changed the skin. They put it in space, and they changed the president's daughter from the president to the president's daughter. And there was bits of other shit in there too. Like, there was like mixes of other movies too. But I mean, with that said, the movie was a 5. I mean, it was like an hour and a half long. It was action, but it was PG-13. I think if you're going to make mindless action movies, make them R-rated. Just give me the fucking explosions and the guts and the blood and stuff. It's on Netflix. You should watch it and tell me what you think. To me, that would be a good cinema enema. Talking about Escape versus New York and that and the lawsuit and whether you think, I get it. Look, I'm not saying was the lawsuit justified, or do you think, are you surprised he won the lawsuit, right? Where is that line drawn?
Mm-hmm.
That might be my next choice when it's my choice again to do, a detailing on that. But anyway, sorry, we're kind of going long here. Let me just, what else did I watch real quick? I'll just wrap it up real fast. I watched Invisible Man, like I said.
Yeah, we should talk about that one because what did you think of that?
I liked it. After I went and rated it, and I saw you didn't like it as much as I did. But
yeah, I thought it was decent. You know what? I thought like they really fucked up that last act because like something okay happens. You're like, okay, that's satisfying enough, and then like they prolong the movie another 20 minutes by throwing in something completely unnecessary. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about the brother switch around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? And then like it ends with like her going to the house and like the motherfucker didn't even admit that he was the one doing it. Like that seemed like it took away kind of like the satisfactory ending it already had.
Yeah, it kind of took away the power of it. I think it was her taking the power back, right?
Yeah, like the whole movie it's got like the double meaning of like the abusive relationship. So I assume that's why they did that. Like, oh yeah, he wouldn't even, like, oh, they always gaslight you and try to make you think it's your fault. You're the one that's crazy. Fucking.
They're pulling the Andy Barclay Child's Play.
Oh yeah.
Which I dug. I dug that. I was fine with that.
Yeah. See, to me, you know what? A better movie is Hollow Man with the bacon in his cock.
So I think you're onto something there. I will agree. I feel like the ending, it didn't end the way I thought it was, where the Invisible Man, quote unquote, exposed himself to everybody like that. And he had to have set up his brother. Or like, how the fuck was he going to get out of that? It was just, I didn't hate the ending, but it felt different than the rest of the movie. But let's just talk about it up until the third act, right? I dug it, and I liked how it had this, like this Child's Play thing where it had you like, gaslight, or even us like guessing, like, what the fuck is it? Maybe she is crazy. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe this really is a modern take on the Invisible Man, and maybe there is no Invisible Man. Like maybe she really is fucking just PTSD, right? And it's really going hard on that whole like woman abuse thing, battered housewife type thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There was a point in the movie where I thought they could have went a couple of directions with it, and I wasn't sure. But what'd you think about the approach to being modern, him being like an optics? I don't recall them saying where it took place, but it seemed like they said it in Silicon Valley, right? And he was like a Silicon Valley type.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't mind that. I kind of dug it. I thought the suspense scenes were pretty cool, when she was, when she was like in the house alone with them and stuff. That was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I liked it. I don't know. I was teetering between a 7 and 8. I'm not sure, but I like it. Maybe I should watch it again.
It was just decent for me.
Yeah,
rental.
Yeah, I think. So what? Are you think it's ambiguous? Do you think he really did that? Clearly was him, right? I mean, I guess because he said what he said. Surprise, right? And she's like, oh, that's the voice, right?
Yeah, he said something that made her think, and then like
surprise, because he said when he first revealed himself invisible, he said surprise, and he walked out of the room, right? And then he said surprise when they met up for their date again, and that's when she's like, oh, I got to go to the restroom, and we all knew that second suit she found was going to come back, right? Like how convenient this guy made 2 suits.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I mean the only thing that was kind of improbable was like, bruh, like. At least go search this guy's house. She's telling all these fucking tall tales. Like, just go search the guy's house.
Yeah.
And she clearly found that fucking weird ass suit pretty easy. And I don't know. I mean, he obviously didn't get away with it for too long, but I mean, I don't fucking know, man. I just think that could have got remedied.
I was noticing too, like the way the suit works. Does it have a bunch of cameras around it? And then it just like projects like what's behind you on the front of you? Like, how would that work if you were in a group of like 5 people, though? There'd be some interference. You'd see like a shadow, like in the midair that's not supposed to be there and shit. I get you're not supposed to think about that though.
No, you're not. I appreciate that it did. Normally, if it was like Freddy Krueger, right, or something, you don't really want him to fuck with the formula. Like, don't change it. But the Invisible Man is fucking how old now? Decades and decades and decades and decades old. We've already seen the mad scientist thing. I kind of like this whole take where it's technology and it's abusive, whatever. It's fine. He was more of a malicious force. I was fine with it overall. I'd watch it again.
They kind of remade Hollow Man though.
Yeah, see, I've never actually seen Hollow Man.
What a beta.
Well, you don't like the movie that much. I was going to say I think I have an extra digital code, but I can give it to you if you want. So basically what happened was I bought it because like I said, when a few weeks ago, they're like, hey, you can rent this movie VOD for like $20. Like, what the fuck? I guarantee in like a fucking month, I'll be able to buy that for that. And yeah, sure enough, they put it out for pre-order and it's like, I went ahead and I pre-ordered it for $20 on 4K. I'm like, you know what? Enough people love this movie and won't shut up about it. I'll take a gamble. And one of the perks was from Best Buy, if I pre-ordered it, it comes out next month. I get a free digital code now to redeem on Vudu or Movies Anywhere. So I'm pretty sure the copy I'll get in the mail is also going to have it. You know, so whatever. I'll have an extra one.
See, that was another news story we could have talked about. Fucking, what is it? Universal Studios is suing fucking AMC or something now.
Yeah, that whole did we talk about that last one? I don't know if we've recorded since then, but
no,
I don't know, man. I know that some theaters have started opening up. All I know is in the Phoenix area, we have three Alamo Draft houses, and we all went bankrupt during this.
Mm-hmm. See, I found out recently that remember back in the day, whenever you'd watch a movie in the theater, and then like you'd have to wait like 6 months to like 12 months for it to come out on video. See, that was originally part of their whole agreement with the studios and the movie theaters. It's like, yeah, people can come watch our movie, and they have more of an incentive to now because, like, they know if they don't, they gotta wait a fucking year for it to come out on, the digital or fucking VHS and everything. And that's one of the things, like, oh, they don't have that anymore. So they're like, fucking, if you start putting them out digitally, it's gonna fuck up our whole business model, baby.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? But actually, a couple other things I watched. I'll just kind of speed around them. I'm not even really going to talk about them. Before I started recording this, I watched Grosse Point Blank because it was expiring from HBO. I never saw that late 90s John Cusack movie. It was a good movie, 7. I watched, what, you ever see it?
No, I watched Her Smell. That also had the, what's her name from fucking Invisible Man.
The most unlikely leading actress ever. She kind of really doesn't look like a leading, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was on HBO. I thought it was like, oh yeah, this is a fucking biopic of like Courtney Love or something, but it's not. It's like a original story about no one real, and like yeah, I enjoyed it. I gave it a 7. And like the first like half of it is kind of fucking hard to watch. Like I can see a lot of people like being turned off, and like I can't finish this because she's a total like asshole, and like the way it's like edited and like the music and stuff, it kind of feels like you feel really uneasy watching it. You're just kind of like a fly on the wall. You ever have like those bands like, yeah, you hear about a band breaking up and you'd be like, man, I wonder what was said on that last fucking practice, you know, like to be a fly on the wall and hear them like just pull all this shit out. Like, that'd be weird. It's kind of like that, the first half of it. And then like it fast forward to years later. And yeah, I'd say check it out. If you got HBO Plus and want to check it out. Which, by the way, it's HBO Now. HBO Now is becoming HBO Max in a few days.
And basically, I was really confused because ignore HBO Max. They have HBO Now and HBO Go currently. And it's real fucking confusing for marketing. And it's like, what's the difference? Well, HBO Go, if you already pay for HBO in a cable package, you get to stream HBO for free. You get a streaming. That's if you subscribe to it with Dish or whoever. If you don't have cable like me, you have HBO Now. It's really fucking confusing. Anyway, they're doing away with, I think both of them, but they're doing away with HBO Now. The one that Zach and I have. HBO Now is becoming HBO Max. They're rebranding it because they're going head to head against Disney Plus because they've acquired all the Warner Brothers stuff.
Yeah, they already got like an original series. They're making new seasons of the Boondocks or whatever.
So yeah, so they're rebranding it, I guess, just to put a spotlight, like, hey, there's something new here. We got Warner Brothers. I guess you want to like make that a thing. So and by the way, if you what's it called? Pre-order it, like, you know, if you subscribe to it right now before the date where it launches, you can get locked in at a cheaper rate for a whole year. So instead of $15, it becomes $12. something worth note. And I think it's only for new subscribers. And I literally just got HBO like a month ago. So what am I going to do? I'm going to fucking cancel it and get a new email and fucking get the cheaper rate. It's fucked up. I'm going to do it. But because I like it.
I thought it was for people that already had HBO Now. I thought they were getting it.
I read it. Well, no, it's going to automatically migrate you over. Yeah, it is. So like if you have it on, you'll wake up one day and it'll update it to HBO Max. But the promotion for $12 a month for a year instead of 15 is only for new subscribers, I think.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah, it's dumb. But so basically, I'm going to have to create a new email in the next couple of days because I want to take advantage. Anyway, I watched Hancock. That was pretty much what I always heard it was. It was like a 5 out of 10.
That fucking movie where Will Smith is making a stupid fucking derpy face on the poster.
And he's got like the fucking glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I watched Runaway Train. You ever see that? You ever hear about that?
Fucking Soul Asylum. Great song.
Yeah, no. Runaway Train, early, what year did it come out? 85, starring John Voight and Eric Roberts. And it was good. It's good in all its cartooniness because John Voight plays this hardened criminal that was in lockdown, maximum security prison. Eric Roberts he's a boxer a boxing prospect that was also locked up as well. They both break out of prison, and it's like fucking the tundra. And so the unlikelihood, it's like they're not going to break out. They'll never make it alive. They somehow beat the odds. It's kind of like The Fugitive mixed with, what's that Denzel movie with the train and Chris Pine? Unstoppable. It's like The Fugitive and Unstoppable before those movies together. Basically, the meat of the movie is they escape and they end up hopping a train. Like this is their ticket out of there. They get on a train, but the conductor has a heart attack. So now they're on this like fucking train and it's going out of control. And that's basically the meat of your movie. And it's enjoyable because the performances are so fucking over the top. Eric Roberts is so over the top. John Voight's over the fucking top. And it's a canon movie. It's a canon film, which is interesting because Eric Roberts and John Voight were fucking nominated for Oscars for this movie. And yet it's a movie not a lot of people talk about anymore. It's just kind of forgotten. But
was Charles Bronson ever nominated for an Oscar?
I mean, he was
Once Upon a Time in the West or something.
Once Upon a Time in the West was like a big clout movie. He might have been. But
would have been another canon guy nominated for an Oscar.
But yeah, this movie feels like a canon movie. It kind of does. It's got some violence in it. That's just like, holy shit, that's really cool. It's Danny Trejo's first movie. He's got a small part in the prison. Go figure. And he's like really fucking young for Danny Trejo. But it feels like a canon movie. It's got all that 80s canon shit that I really like, but yet it's got these two guys in it. It's good. It's so funny though. I was reading some reviews on it after I watched it, reviewed it, and some guys like, fucking hell, both of these guys were nominated for Best Actor and Supporting Oscar when this came out. He's like, you know, did they not know what acting was in the 80s? Because it is. It's like they chew the scenery up.
Yeah, like they knew it was you had to be in interesting shit. Like now it's just like what's something nobody's watched? We'll give them an Oscar.
But you know what I mean though? Like it's one of those flicks, man, where they just chew the fucking scenery up. It's fucking ham. And you know, most of the scenes is them on this boxcar and this train, and so they gotta go fucking ham, man. But that's the beauty of it. That's why it was as fun as it was. Anyway, I think Eric Roberts is a national treasure. Anyway, what else? The last one I'll talk about. Sorry, I just fucking burped in my mouth, man. I think I threw up a little bit.
Oh, that's the best.
I finally watched Sinister, which my review of it I put in Letterboxd was Creepypasta, the movie.
Oh, you didn't like Sinister? I liked that first one.
I liked it. I didn't know there was a sequel. Is there a sequel?
Yeah, sequel's terrible. It's got a fucking guy from that played Tate. Tate was in Sinister too. He was the cop.
He's in the first one. Okay, so I watched it. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
He's the main character in part 2. It's not good.
Is he really? Okay, so I gave it a 7 out of 10. I did like it, but it did have a little bit of that tropey fucking modern day creepypasta shit. Like a couple of try-hard moments, like, okay. And like they even ended on a creepypasta where the movie's ending and they give you that one last little flash scare. Like, okay.
Yeah,
like
that came out like the same year as fucking like Insidious.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh yeah, it's a fucking resurgence of these slow burn fucking horror classic kind of movies. But
once again, it's like, just like The Conjuring that really popularized that resurgence, right? It doesn't, which The Conjuring isn't Blumhouse. It feels like it would be, wouldn't it? Is it Blumhouse?
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, Blumhouse is Paranormal Activity, though, right? Isn't that how they kind of like made their salt?
Yeah.
That's where they cut their teeth on Paranormal Activity. But I don't just like this movie's just like The Conjuring in the fact that I don't think The Conjuring or Sinister needed the cheap creepypasta jump scares. It didn't need it. Like it had the creepy vibe. Like why? And I get it. That's just the demographic in the generation now. Like people need their creepypastas. They need their jump scares. But like, and maybe the directors, they're our age and they're like, well, I don't want to put this shit in here, but the studio's telling us to, right? Like you need to make go back. Like maybe they turn in the movie and they're like, add more jump scares, and they have to go back and post and put some stupid shit in or whatever. They don't need it. I think the movie Sinister, it had enough going for it. Like I was following the story. It had I can do with atmosphere. I don't need this shit. You let me hear creepy footsteps. Let me hear creepy voices. Don't show me a little face that comes out. I don't need it. I'm not a retard. You know, you don't have to fucking spoon feed it. But anyway, I kind of have to forgive a little bit of that in modern day because I've learned that when I shit on movies for that, I have to accept and learn that it's probably not always the creative person's fault. Like it probably is the studio's, right? Mm-hmm. It's like that shit with the Thing prequel, right? Go back and do it CGI. Like, why? Well, because we're paying for it, bitch. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. But I do think that shit dates the movies to a period, right? Mm-hmm. I can watch a movie from the 90s. It's dated by the effects. I can watch a movie by the 80s. Once again, it's dated by the effects. We had stop motion and we had practical effects. I can watch a movie from fucking 2008 to 2018 and I know when it came out because it's got all that creepypasta weird jump scare shit that's just stupid. But I liked it outside of that. Yeah, so that's all we got, I think, for what we've watched. This is an extra long episode of fucking Cinema Enema, but hopefully you guys don't mind. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about the movie of the hour, which is my pick, and we're going to be talking about, I don't know if you want to call it the Lost James Cameron flick, because I don't think, he only has so many movies. He doesn't have that many, but to me, it's the one they don't talk about as much as Avatar or Titanic or Terminator and even True Lies. It's like the other one. It's like that stupid deformed cousin or stupid, uncle no one wants to bring up at family dinner. Mm-hmm. But that's what we're going to chat about. We'll be back in a moment.
Dog.
It began 2 years ago in an unfinished nuclear power plant. It became one of the most challenging motion pictures ever made. And on August 9th, the most original adventure of the summer will begin at theaters everywhere. From James Cameron, the writer and director of The Terminator and Aliens, comes The Abyss.
God, I hate that bitch.
Probably shouldn't have married her then, huh?
Hang on, gentlemen.
Here's a bottomless pit, baby. 2.5 miles straight down.
It was alive. It was like a dance of light. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't think they mean us any harm. I don't know how I know that.
Whatever happens, it's up to us.
That guy scares me more than anything that's down there.
But we all see what we want to see. Coffee looks and he sees hate and fear. You have to look with better eyes than that. Talk to me, Bud, please. Do you hear me?
He's coming up fast.
I need to know if you're okay. You can't leave me here alone.
You never backed away from anything in your life. Now fight!
The Abyss. Believe your eyes.
And we're back. So, The Abyss. Let me just preface by saying this movie's interesting in the James Cameron filmography in that it kind of I think, how would you say, it slowed down his momentum a little bit. It's this weird blip because he was on fire because he did Terminator. And Terminator, I'm not saying did like all the money in the world, but it was made on such a micro budget. It equated to being a big hit. And then he did Aliens, which Aliens was a smash fucking hit. And this movie came in between Aliens and T2. We all know T2 is the biggest movie that year. Huge fucking hit. This movie only pulled in like 89 million, probably worldwide. So it was kind of a bomb in that regards. But it did like win an Oscar for effects, which I think it was rightly deserved, by the way. So I think that's why it just gets overshadowed, because it came between those two movies, and then it ended up just getting fucking Titanics and all that shit came out. I don't know, but this movie, if you watch it, and I'll talk about the plot roughly here in a second. If you watch it, it foreshadows what was to come in T2 as far as the effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is 2 years before that. And it's like, damn, I mean, for 1989, weren't the effects fucking good?
Mm-hmm.
For 1989, dude, they're just like you could say about T2. You watch the stunts, even the practical stunts and the CGI. Movies that were coming out in the mid to late 90s looked way shittier than that, right?
Yeah, the whole movie is shot really well. Like, it looked a lot like T2. I wonder if it's the same director of photography or something. And
it's 2 years earlier, and you have all the water effects of the water alien, right? It's kind of like the T-1000. They were playing with that CGI, and my mind was blown. In '89, like, that movie looks better than movies that were doing shitty CGI in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
It excels. Now, the movie in a nutshell, there's fucking a submarine. I think it's like USS Ohio, or I can't remember quite what it's named. But basically, they come across not an unidentified flying object, but like a submerged entity, right? Unidentified, something underwater. And they end up sinking. So they then, the powers that be, send the U.S. Marines down to, I guess, retrieve them, right? Mm-hmm. And that's our movie. They're trapped underwater, and it's led by Ed Harris, and it's got some James Cameron alumni, right? It's got the chick from Alien / John Connor's stepmom, right? No, wait, she's not in it, is she?
Was that her?
Fuck, no. Or they just
the ex-wife?
No, it's not. They just got you know what? She's not in it. They just got someone who looked like her. I'm like, man, why don't they get her again? Yeah, the ex-wife was not her, but it's got Michael Biehn playing a batshit crazy guy, playing a military guy again, kind of like Aliens, but he's batshit. There's who else is in that fucking movie? There's other James Cameron alumni in it, but there's random people too, like Jay Moore. He's got a very small part, like the comedian from SNL,
mm-hmm.
right? That was in like Jerry Maguire and shit in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's got James Cameron alumni in there, but it's also got some new people. But it's got like, you're kind of surprised. Maybe he didn't want to put Bill Paxton in it, and maybe he didn't want to put the John Connor's mom, because these people were just in Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would have been too much. Like, we already got Michael Biehn. We're good.
Dick Warlock's in there.
Oh, yeah? Who's he?
Dwight Perry.
Dwight Perry. Anyway, so in a nutshell, they're down in there. Fucking Michael Biehn starts going batshit crazy. He becomes the loose cannon. That's the isolation's getting to him or whatever, and he's gonna be the Jack Nicholson, right? The go nuts dude. And
yeah.
They come to find out that the entity's not bad, right? You know, they come into contact. Ed Harris comes with it, and the overall theme of it is, I don't. What's your take on the movie? I want to hear you, because you've never seen it before.
Well, I wrote down some fucking bullet points that we could go through.
I'd rather you do. You're better at this, by the way, as far as bullet pointing a movie, and I'm actually just more curious about what you have to think of it, because.
So yeah, the fucking the submarine at the beginning, fucking they start seeing some weird flashing lights or something, and then like they hit a fucking like the side of a rock that just seems to come out of nowhere, and then the fucking rescue crew was sent in, fucking Ed Harris and his ex-wife, and they're like you get the sense that they like broke up. Or, divorced, separated recently, but they haven't divorced yet, because they keep mentioning that. Like, he calls her Mrs. whatever. She's like, not for long, and shit like that. So, yeah, and then, they find the submarine, they go in, and, like, I really like the underwater scenes. Like, they're really, pretty to look at. Like, there was a cool thing they had in the movie where, like, I don't know. I missed some of it, but they were talking about like, oh yeah, once you go down so far underwater, like the pressure can like make your suit just smash into itself. So they have this special liquid that has H2O pumping into it so that they can breathe. I don't know if that's real, probably not, but like, yeah, it worked good enough. And there was that scene where he takes the guy's pet mouse or rat or whatever,
Yeah.
and almost drowns it. And it's like, no, it's adapting to breathing in the liquid. And that was donk. And then they go down there, really cool underwater scenes. One guy's kind of like worried to go looking around, so he kind of stays back, and Ed Harris gives him like a rope to tug on if he gets scared. He ends up seeing like some weird fucking lights, like really bright pink and shit lights, and so yeah, we don't see what it is, but he gets spooked, and like they come back and fucking like basically like when he's spooked, he fucking fucks up his oxygen tank. And is that the last time? Like, does he die after that or what? Like, I don't remember which character that was. If he's throughout the rest of the movie.
Which one?
The guy that saw it originally. I don't think he died from it, but yeah, like
No, he was like all catatonic, right?
Oh, okay.
He came out of it. I think he woke up eventually.
Mm-hmm. They end up thinking there's some kind of attack coming from the Russians because, what was it? They picked up some kind of Russian thing on their radar around the same time.
Yeah, and this is originally supposed to be like there's an extended version, right? Which if you watch the HBO one, and I've never seen the extended version either, but the one that's on HBO right now isn't the extended version.
It's not. It's an hour and 23 minutes.
No, you mean 2 hours 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the theatrical, the one that you watched, is 2 hours 23. So fucking extended must be really long. But apparently the extended version, it uses the backdrop of the Soviet Union and United States conflict even more, and actually emphasizes all-out war possibly coming. And it's the Montana. The sinking of the Montana, I guess, is what kind of fuels all that. And I guess they also say that there's more and more conflict between Bud and Lindsay, the married couple, and all that shit. But yeah, but I've never actually seen it myself. But I hear it's better. I hear it's the superior version. Mm-hmm. But anyway, continue.
So yeah, they think it's the Russians. Why do they call the Russians the Kremlin? Like they called them the Kremlin, and I thought, man, they should have made a spinoff of Gremlins where it's the Kremlins.
Well, it's
a little fucking
it's the Russian
Yahoo. Whatever his name is.
It's the Russian equivalent to the Pentagon.
Dog.
So it's just like people saying that, like, oh, the Pentagon did this. But yeah, it's where the intelligence is. But continue.
Hell yeah. Fucking, so because they think it's the Russians, fucking Michael Biehn's character, he like sneaks a nuke into the facility, right?
Now, is it real clear? Do they make it a clear thing that they advised him or assigned him to do that secretly? Like he's the mole, like.
Yeah, see, I was hoping you noticed because I watched this in 2 sittings, and the first night I got real tired, and this is around the time like I fell asleep.
I don't know. I can't remember if that was clear or not. I mean, I think he did have orders, but did they not give him psych evals? Clearly, he's fucking batshit to begin with a little bit. So why would they give that to him? How would Michael Biehn just have access to a nuke? I have to think he was probably assigned to do it. But I'd have to go back and watch because I haven't seen the movie a lot at all. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean he's the Paul Reiser. There's always that guy that has the motive, right? That's just part of it. But anyway, continue.
He had a mustache too.
Yeah, which is interesting. They had to make him be able to be differentiated from Hicks and Aliens. Like, God, people are going to be like, he's playing the same character. We got to do something. Let's make him a Marine, or was he a SEAL or a Marine? I don't remember what he was. Maybe he was a SEAL in this. I don't fucking know. They were Marines and Aliens, but yeah, let's give him a mustache.
Oh yeah, that's how you know he probably fucks kids.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
I got it. Why do I make these jokes?
I don't know. Why do you always stop yourself after you've made it? I think you need to perfect the craft of stopping yourself before you actually let it come out of your mouth.
Exactly. So the ex-wife, she gets some pictures of what looks like an alien, like equivalent of some like underwater submarine. Like it's like translucent and glowing. And like obviously, just like anytime, she doesn't get very good pictures. It's just like, just the side of it. So yeah, no one believes her when she shows them. And we find out that a random guy in the crew, oh fuck, I already read that part. Yeah, the fucking guy that brought the Duke on.
The bean.
Yeah, we got the water dick scene. What'd you think of the water dick?
I thought it looked gorgeous. I mean, no, seriously, the effects. I mean, like I've already said this, but not only were they just a precursor to what was going to come in T2, but also a fun fact about this flick is this is the movie that also foreshadowed Titanic, because when James Cameron did this movie, he was so enamored with being underwater, it made him become more fascinated with the Titanic. And then he did a Titanic documentary, if you remember, that came before the movie, right?
Oh yeah.
He directed and narrated where they went underwater, and they were, with the whole, I forget what it's called, the invention, the little thing that goes underwater and it's like a camera and it actually shows the footage and it's swimming. So he was part of that. And from his experience with this movie and underwater, it led to him realizing he could maybe do something on a documentary level with Titanic. And then it made him, but the thought of doing a movie was kind of a pipe dream, but it eventually led to the movie too. So this was actually the genesis of the Titanic too. And it's kind of like Aliens meets Titanic with T2 effects.
Yeah. So now
it's got all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So the water dick comes in and everybody sees it, the whole crew. So they know she wasn't fucking, they know she's telling the truth now. And it mimics her face and mimics Ed Harris's face. And like she tastes it for some reason. I was like, why the fuck? That's gross. You don't know what that shit's made out of. It could have been made out of gummies, for all you know.
Yeah.
And then whenever she licked it, she's like, sea salt. And I was like, oh, see, I was close.
Semen,
yeah. Sea salt. Yeah. I thought she was going to say semen. But then fucking Nukem High guy with the mustache, he closes the door on it and fucking cuts it in half. So he circumcises it. And fucking, because he thought he was coming to get the fucking nuke that he snuck on,
Yeah. So what do you think? Maybe it would have been more fleshed out if they would have had more of the war shit and the conflict with the Soviet Union. But what's your takeaway from the theme of the movie? Do you think there is a theme? Obviously, the aliens were not malicious at all. They were friends, and they saved their lives, and they helped them at the end. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling there's a director's cut out there somewhere where it turns into Rocky IV at the end, where America looks at Russia and be like, if the aliens from another planet can get along with us, we can't do, But
oh, yeah.
I don't really know. But what's your takeaway of the overall theme and the overall flick?
Well, we'll get to that. I still got some fucking things.
You got more bullet points? Continue.
I do got some.
Continue.
The ex-wife and crew believe that these aliens have learned to control water, and that was them trying to communicate with them. The Nukem High, fucking Michael Biehn, he's going deeper and deeper off the deep end. He starts cutting himself and shit. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Fucking, he's a cutter. You think he's listening to some dank fucking My Chemical Romance records and shit?
Probably.
Fucking cutter. Guy comes up with a plan to shoot the nuke into where the aliens are thought to be hiding. Is that what was going on? Because he steals their fucking other submarine.
Yeah.
And he starts going towards it with the fucking nuke. And so, see, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, okay, there's about an hour left of the movie. This is basically the rest of the movie is going to be like an action cat and mouse kind of thing. And I'm thinking okay, the rest of the movie is pretty much written. But then 5 minutes later, they fucking stop him and he dies. The movie's pulling, it's just surprising me all over the place.
Yeah, really quick, before I forget, I have to correct myself because, before I said Jay Moore had a small part. I'm getting the wrong fucking SNL guy that had a short career in the 90s. I meant to say Chris Elliott. He played Woogie.
Hell yeah.
Chris Elliott's the guy that has a small, he's like, he's on the fucking Navy ship. He's, he's not in the ship. He's, and yeah, he played Woogie. My bad. And he was in those fucking Tostitos commercials in the late 90s. Remember those? Okay. Anyway, that's what I meant. Continue.
See, they get in another fucking their only other submarine thing to go chase him, and yeah, they stop him and shit. And then one of my favorite parts of the movie is the scene where they're stuck in the capsule and it's flooding. So the guy, they only got one of the suits, and so they fight over who's gonna wear it. This is where they start getting along, and the ex-wife and husband, and yeah, so basically she makes him wear it, and she's just like, yeah, let me drown. and then like you can take my body back, and like it shouldn't be that long. You'll be able to revive me. And then I noticed like why does he wait till she drowns to start going? He should have just grabbed her to start going. Maybe she didn't have to be unconscious that long.
Yeah.
So then, like, yeah, she dies, and he brings her back with the power of slapping her and yelling at her and calling her a bitch. Yeah. So yeah, like all you guys, like you get in trouble, like the cops come, just say that, like, all you domestic abusers out there. So yeah, I put insert domestic abuse joke, but I had a funnier one planned, but I forgot what it was. I should have just wrote it down. So yeah, fuck it. You think like that gives people false hope though? Like some guy, he's like, "Oh, could you save my dad's life?" And he's like, "Yeah, I tried this, doctor." Like, "Oh, we lost your dad." But did you try everything? Yeah, I tried this and this and this. But did you try fucking calling him a bitch? Did you try yelling at him about how he never ran away from anything?
Yeah.
Fucking. So yeah, because the Russian guy, he took the machine. So now Ed Harris, he has to fucking basically. Now, what was his point of going down like fucking all those floors underneath sea level? Did they just want to get like another picture of it for proof that the aliens are?
Maybe they didn't have much choice. I mean, like they weren't gonna fucking get out of there otherwise, weren't they running? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I can't quite remember, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he takes the camera, but then the camera breaks halfway down, but he just keeps going. So yeah, like he comes all the way down, and like they give him like what they have left of the oxygen and the liquid, and there's this big like scene where he's going down. They realize he's gonna run out of the liquid like halfway down, so they're telling him like just come back up, and he's like, no, fuck it, I'm just gonna go. And then so they have like their little moment where you find out the woman still loves him and shit. So yeah, he finally gets down. He's laying there at the bottom, looking like he's getting ready to fucking die, and he sees a bunch of lights, and basically like I guess this is kind of the spoiler. Do you want to just talk about the ending?
Yeah, go for it. And by the way, I'm reading more about the extended cut that I think does flesh out the overall meaning of the movie. But go ahead and tell it as you know it, and then I'll elaborate.
All right. He's sitting there. He sees the lights, and he sees like a jellyfish-like alien creature that picks him up, takes him through like deeper down into the underwater, and he sees like a space station type of thing. It looks like something out of Halo. And they put him in a room that separates the water, which is pretty cool CG effect. And so now he can breathe and shit. And like he sees a couple other jellyfish alien creatures, and they seem impressed that he made it that far on his, down there. And like we don't know if they can communicate, because like all they say to him is like they just like give him like little nuggets of things he was sending to the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said like, oh yeah, this is I knew I wouldn't make it back up or whatever. I forget what it was exactly. But then it cuts to the next day when help has come, like the rescue, like the rest of the crew and everything, the fucking rescue ship. And they think Ed Harris died because he didn't like have enough oxygen to make it. But he sends them a message saying he's on his way
with
up.
Some friends or something.
And he's bringing friends, yeah. So they end up coming up with the entire underwater Halo space station. And, it's a movie. It's a movie because the rescue ships their first instinct wasn't to kill the aliens. And Ed Harris comes out and he kisses the wife. And they call each other Mr. and Mrs., implying that they love each other again. And, yeah. That's the movie in a nutshell.
Check out on the extended cut. This is what was different about the ending, or extended about the ending. All right, so it says here, according to Wikipedia, the primary addition in the ending is the ending. When Bud is taken to the alien ship, they start by showing him images of war and aggression from news sources around the globe. The aliens then create massive mega tsunamis that threaten the world's coasts, but stop them short before they hit. Bud asks why they spared the humans, and they show Bud his message to Lindsay. So I guess in this version, the aliens, I don't know if they're malicious, but they're almost more like God, right? And fucking Noah's Ark, like getting rid of the earth because it's just terrible, a terrible place. And I could see maybe they got, if they're going to cut it down and get rid of the more backdrop of the conflict between Soviet Union and America, I guess it makes sense to cut that out of the ending too, because then whatever, it just seems kind of shoehorned in. But that's cool. I think that makes a little bit more sense of it. And I guess then those messages like, oh, basically Bud shows that humanity has hope, I guess, you know. But
yeah, that makes it
so
more
he by total, you know, by total absence there, he saved the world because they went down there and Bud went down there, you know, and they were probably just gonna fucking blow the earth to shit with their tsunamis. And who knows? maybe that also insinuates that fucking alien life form that's been down there and that ship has been responsible for all the tsunamis, even the one that happened to fucking Asia in the fucking 2000s, right? When U2 did that fucking Save the World song. Right. Yeah.
So that's like my last thing. I was gonna mention, like, oh, if every movie has, like, you know, a moral, what do you think the moral of this movie was? The moral's more clear in that version, because if you think about it, if they would have went down and they still would have been fighting each other like they were at the beginning of the movie, where they just hated each other, those aliens probably would have fucking nuked the shit out of us.
Yeah, exactly. They would have been humanity's punishment, like the Great Flood or whatever. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Maybe that's why they say it is the definitive version. I think I would like it better. I kind of want to watch that one now.
So like the moral is kind of like, oh yeah, there's always hope for us fucked up creatures.
Yeah, or maybe don't let the whole bunch spoil. Like, there's good people out there. Don't let the fucking governments and the greater whole, you know what I mean? There's hope in the individuals, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of want to watch that ending though and see how it plays out, because it seems much, much better. But with that said, what'd you think of the flick overall? Like, what's your opinion? In my opinion, really quick, I don't think it's as top tier as Aliens or Terminator or T2 or True Lies, but it's good.
Yeah. See, when you were telling me about it, I guess I just misunderstood or misheard you. I was thinking you were calling it the Lost fucking, fucking George, what's his name?
George
James
Lucas?
Cameron.
James Cameron.
I was calling George Lucas. James Cameron. I thought you were talking like the Lost James Cameron classic. So I was going into it expecting like, oh, I'm going to like this as much as T2. But yeah, I liked it. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it a 7 too. Whereas, like, you know, Terminator 1, 2, and True Lies, these are 9s and 10s, right? These are, and Aliens, these are 9s and 10s. So it's not quite as good, but maybe it's because like all his other movies are action, and this one's really not action. It's not an action movie.
Yeah,
that's also different. Well, Titanic's not action either, but I would be interested in seeing this extended version to see if it helps wrap things up even better. Maybe it might go up a little bit, but I like it. And I think the effects, and I think James Horner does the music, I believe, just like he did in Titanic and shit. I think he does. And the music's great. And just like T2, just like all these flicks, dude, it's years ahead of itself because it looks fantastic. It looks fucking great. I'm trying to think of other movies that came out in 1989. Sometimes I watch movies and they feel like they came out 10 years earlier than they did. What movie did I watch not that long ago and I swear it looked like it fucking came out? It was like a movie that came out in 1982, but it looked like a movie that came out in 1970. Like, I don't know. I don't know if people are just like on a budget and they shoot on fucking old ass equipment.
Evil Dead was made in 78 or 9 and didn't come out till 82 or something like that.
Yeah, well, that was actual delay.
Sometimes they just hold them over.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it. It's definitely a flick that has some merit, and nobody ever talks about it. But I think
I guess I can see why it's not talked about as much as like fucking his bigger, more well-known stuff.
Well, it just didn't. Like I just read, did 89 million worldwide. Like that, it just didn't do the numbers anything else did. But then again, who knows? Maybe had he not followed it up with his only sequel ever in T2 right after, right? I think it suffers because it was sandwiched in between Aliens and T2. I mean, I think, and then after T2 we had True Lies, and then we had Titanic. I don't know. I just think
On the IMDb, it's listed as 2 hours and 51 minutes. That must be the extended version.
Wow, that's fucking 30 minutes longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely insane. That's a lot. That's really long because it is kind of a slow. It's not action. It's because it's kind of a slower movie. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if 3 hours would be too long for this movie.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still want to see it though. The story though. Anyway, I dig it. It's worth checking out, at least for the visual effects. It's fucking awesome. And it also reminds me, it's just one more thing. Like, man, this is another movie Michael Biehn was in. I mean, even though he was a pet to fucking James Cameron, it's kind of a shame this guy fucking shit his career away because he's one of those dudes that was getting by on his looks, right? And I guess some sort of charisma, I guess if you want to define it as that, because he's not a great actor. Right.
Oh, he's amazing.
But he's just one of those guys, man. And you watch a movie like Avatar. And what's his fucking name? Is it Stephen Lang? Am I getting his name right? Is it Stephen?
I've never seen Avatar.
Okay,
I started it
okay,
once.
well, you know, fucking what's that song with Money, right? And he pisses on the floor. Don't Breathe, right?
Yeah.
The bad guy in that, the blind guy. Is his name Stephen Lang? I don't know why I'm getting it wrong.
I forgot, yeah.
I think it's
something like that.
Oh, fucking, that's driving me crazy. I'm probably getting it wrong. But Lang, right? Stephen Lang, whatever his name is. He played the villain in Avatar, and the way he's dressed up and the way he looks, it just looks like it was written for Michael Biehn. He looks like Michael Biehn. And I'm like, I have a feeling Michael Biehn is just a drunk, and he could have been in this role if he just stayed straight, right? And he didn't fuck his career up. But yeah, and same thing. I mean, obviously there's the stories about fucking James Remar, and he was cast in Aliens and all that shit, and he blew it away from being a fucking junkie boozer too. But anyway, I digress.
Would you fuck Michael Biehn?
No, I saw him at Casey Crypticon with Riverman like 5 or 6 years ago, and he looked like he had been weathered for wear. But you know, he was a nice enough guy. He was wearing an ascot like fucking Don Knotts. It was kind of weird. But
what's an ascot?
An ascot what Don Knotts always wore on Three's Company.
I can't picture it.
That weird little scarf thing, that little fucking fruity ascot thing that Don Knotts always wore.
Okay.
Right, yeah. But I saw he literally went from doing movies like Tombstone, like all the way up to Tombstone, right? Mid-90s, he was still getting work. And then he started just doing those Christian movies. You know, it's like, oh, okay. He became one of these guys that's just pay me and I'll do whatever. He was in this movie called Megiddo, which is the Omega Code 2. The first Omega Code starred Casper Van Diem of Starship Troopers and Michael Ironside, I think. And then it's pretty funny, man. It stars Michael Biehn in the protagonist role. It's about the end of the world. And then the second coming of the devil on Earth, right? And is played by Michael York, a.k.a. Basil from fucking Austin Powers or the guy from Logan's Run, right? It is shit, Austin. And it's just it's fucking over the top, man. We should have, man, that almost sounds terrible because I don't want to like make fun. It's just like Christian music. Look, I'm a Christian guy. I'm not making fun of the religion, but Christian music, come on. It's a fucking industry, is it not? I even kind of have to laugh at the South Park episode, The Christ Plus One, right? Because it's a weird industry that exploits something, I think, for money, like everything else. And those movies are the same way. Those movies they put out just for we watched Saving Christmas, Kirk Cameron, right? And then you have people that go to Christian church, they see movies like this, and they're like, this is just, they make movies for us and we appreciate it. I'm like, what? Like, even as a Christian, I'm like, if this is what they're making for us, I'm offended because it says we're dumb and stupid. And
they're amazing films.
You know what I mean? Because the movies are so shitty. I'm like, you can't do better than this. Saving Christmas is terrible. It's fucking ridiculous. And it comes off as, to somebody that's not like of the Christian faith, it comes off, all it does is solidify all their notions about the Christian faith, because it comes off like Kirk Hammond drinks Kool-Aid, right? Drinks the funny tasting Kool-Aid, and it comes off kind of culty and weird. It does. It's fucking whacked. So I get a trip out of watching some of those old movies. There's this one fucking movie, man, starring fucking Gary Busey and Howie Mandel. that's ridiculous too. It's super fucking ridiculous. So they're kind of entertaining, man. I think like I said, I don't want to be offensive because it sounds like I'm saying Christian exploitation, but Christian movie exploitation month. Because they're freaking ridiculous, man. And technically we've already got it with, Kirk Cameron started. So anyway, it is what it is. So Zach and I think the first time we've ever agreed on a Cinema Enema on the same score, 7 out of 10. Do you have any idea what you want to choose for the next one?
Oh, see, I wanted to do Coffin Joe, but I don't know if I should do, because I like the second Coffin Joe the movie the best. But yeah, I don't know if you could just watch it not seeing the first one. So what do you think?
Tasmanian Devil?
Hell yeah.
So you saying should we do it both? You want to do a series? Oh. I mean, you're gonna maybe do that's a lot of homework, but I guess I'd have like a month to do it.
I guess I could pick. We could do the first one.
Okay, so
because it's actually a trilogy, but I don't remember liking the third one. It took that one came out way more recently.
Okay, so. And I like this idea it came up with, and I don't really, it's kind of an idea we came up with a long time ago, but incorporating it to this show is the best way to do it. I already know what my next choice is going to be. So after we're done doing Coffin Joe, I want to have the Hellraiser 1 and 2 discussion. And we're changing formats because we've already seen these movies, but it's perfect. And we also had the idea of having an actual discussion on the Alien 3 versions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also great too. The director's cut and the theatrical cut or the producer's cut, whatever they want to call it.
I wonder if I should just do the whole trilogy then.
You could. Okay. I mean, is it going to be hard to get through them or no? Is it pretty reasonable? I mean...
I like the first two. I don't remember much about the third one.
Yeah, I mean, so
I guess it could be the only time we do a movie that if we like a movie we don't like is if we do like a trilogy of them, and then because we never picked a movie we don't like yet.
Okay,
right?
So
we always pick movies we like.
I mean, I'm down. I mean, like I said, if I got a whole month to watch them, I'll just have to start shipping away. You got to get them in the box or something. I mean, they're probably not available. They're not on Shudder or anything, are they? I doubt it. Yeah. So if you get them in the box, I'll try and get to watching them. And so, yeah. And then my next choice we'll have a discussion. And you know what? I would like to bring on a guest for that one even, because maybe that one will have to be a little bit formatted differently. Maybe we won't spend so much time at the top of the hour and we'll just have a nice roundtable discussion about it. Maybe we'll bring someone in like Josh James or fucking Goat would be great.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just talk about it. And then I could see myself, like I said, I think the Alien one should happen eventually, because that one you could just fucking talk ad nauseum about the two differences. And I also think, I honestly think a good one would be talking about the holy trinity of Henenlotter movies, right? Basket Case, Brain Damage, and Frankenhooker. Right? Because I mean, I know after that, it's passes. Those are his three. I know he did sequels to Basket Case and he did Bad Biology later on in the 2000s, but it's all about those first three. That would be fun.
He's got a movie that he's had planned since, written as his second movie to do after the original Basket Case called Insect City that he can never get funded. I wonder what it is. Apparently it's just the most disgusting thing. That's why it's so hard to get people to want to fund it.
Well, and what actually gave me the idea about talking about all three of them like that as a piece, well, mixed with Zach proposing we do that with the show, is when I was watching the Joe Bob one, and Darcy was saying how she was a Frankenhooker fan, and how and Joe Bob even said most people say Brain Damage is the best, and he was a Basket Case guy, and it's oh well, there you go, it's pretty divisive, right, on who's got a favorite. I'm this would be a perfect discussion. So I think we should do maybe I'll even reserve that for being my next choice after the fucking Hellraiser thing. So this is the first time in the world we've been this planned out on Cinema Enema. But anyway, we'll close it up. So if you guys are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you guys get alerts whenever we put something new. We put shit up every single week. Check out our backlog, Revival House Network. We got this show. Currently, we're doing it once a month, but every single week we do the BTM commentary. It's kind of our bread and butter. Zach hosts Mac and Zach Save the World with his cousin Mac. We got what are you laughing about?
You fucked that all up.
I fucked it up, man. Yeah, I mean, you guys fucking names rhyme, man. What can I say? Zach has Mac and Zach Save the World. They do commentaries as well. It's more slapsticky, a little bit more off the rails. Like they do drunken commentaries a lot, and sometimes they just go fucking to shit, which, you know, if you want to talk about the one that I guess isn't going to make it. If you guys listen to the BTM commentary, he's been talking about like, yeah, we did Space Invaders, and you guys got to listen to it. Let me know if it's good enough to put up, which is, I think on paper you might say, well, if you have to ask, it isn't. But no, we're very tough on ourselves critically. So a lot of times when we think something's shit, we'll put it in the vault because it's not good enough, and we'll talk about it. And then eventually people will ask to like, come on, we want to hear it. And then we'll put it out like a year or two later, and then we'll be like, oh, this wasn't very bad at all. But I listened to it, and my opinion was the first half, man, the first 45 minutes is great. I'm like, oh, he's drunk. Because he was drunk out of the get-go. I'm like, but he's not like incapable. He's funny drunk. And then something happened from like minute 45 to like minute 50, like over a course of a minute, where he just got fucking stupid drunk, and he couldn't even talk, and he was fucking just, I don't seeing shit. and there was really no conversation going on. It was real fucked up. So the first half is really funny. And then the second half, minus the prank calls to the sex line, like stuff like that's funny. Like my suggestion to Zach was, I mean, you could put out the first half, and you could maybe record a new intro that explains why the movie's not finished. And then you could even put as like an Easter egg the phone call, like splice that out on the end too, and you might still have an hour-long podcast, and I think it's still serviceable in that route. And it's actually funny if you put a new bookend on it explaining, hey, guess what? We got super shit face, so you're going to notice this fucking thing ends about fucking 45 minutes into the movie. And then it's something. But the last fucking half is just, there's just nothing there, man. But
it was amazing.
What are you going to do with that? Because like I said, you have enough there to get like an hour podcast if you wanted to. And it's funny, but just not all of it. I would edit it. I would be like, because you guys have put up movies that you haven't finished before, right?
Just once.
How was this any different? Just be like, yeah, we got too fucking drunk and we stopped the movie like 45 minutes in. But we're giving you that 45 minutes. Plus, we're going to give you some behind the scenes. We're going to give you the fucking prank call, the fucking sex line, and all that shit. Because that stuff was pretty funny. Like I said, I think you got an hour's of material at least. So it's up to you. But anyway, we got a whole bunch of shit on there. We got Deep End with myself, Aaron Lipscomb. Those are a little less frequent, but we have a bunch of shows. But we get shit up every single week. And we've been out for fucking a decade now, man. So there's just tons and tons of backlog for you to sink your teeth into. What else? If you're not new to the show and you already established that you like us and you feel like supporting us, Zach and I did create a Patreon at the worst fucking time in the world, like literally like the week of the fucking pandemic. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty shitty. But you know what? I'm not even going to try and sell it. If you guys want to check out the link below, see what we got going on there. And please give us feedback because we're new to it and we launched it at a real shit time. We have ideas of things we can give you for extra support, but let us know what you want because we're just a couple of few dudes. You know, we want to see what you guys really want, where the time is really valued. And we'll fucking do it because we're happy to do it. We've been doing a lot more lives lately, and I'd like to incorporate that even more. And check that out too, man. We go live. We'll do gameplay throughs. Sometimes we've done a couple of live movie commentaries. I want to start making that a regular thing, like as part of the Patreon. But we want to be able to get to a point where we can give Patreon and even the fucking mainline, even the free shit, more content. Right? Mm-hmm. If our time could be accounted for. Fuck, man, I would love to give an exclusive commentary, whether that's extra BTM commentaries for patrons, even once a week, or if it's a whole new type of show. I would fucking love to be able to have the time to do that. Anyway, if you guys would also like to, we have Teespring. That's another way if you guys want to support. Linked everywhere, obviously. If you guys buy a shirt or something like that, you know, Zach, I wonder how much money we have to rake in there because it's like an unlocking system. Like when you make so much money or so many sales, you unlock these. Like now you can have socks and now you can have this. I wonder how much income we gotta pull in for them to, you know, okay, like Zach's fleshlight, like his asshole pocket ass.
Oh
right?
Yeah, a cock sock.
The cock sock, or your own plaster cast dildo,
or the Macazak American flag cum rags.
Oh my gosh! But anyway, if you guys check that out, if you guys ever felt inclined to get something like that, Teespring kicks us back a nice percentage of that. So that's a way you can support us. And if you can't do any of the above, no big deal either. Our shit's always free, and we just appreciate you listening and hopefully sharing. And by all means, YouTube aside, listen to us on podcast services. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Play. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. Head over there. Think about subscribing to us over there. Good for on your drives, you're running. If you don't want to keep fucking YouTube up, that's how I like to listen to podcasts. Or just go over there and leave us a 5-star rating. That stuff is like currency in the podcast world. Just leave us a 5-star rating and something nice, maybe in a review or something. Really quick, man, before I end it, I got to say, as of this recording, a couple days ago, Joe Rogan signed that fucking massive $100 million Spotify exclusivity deal, which I think is huge because it's going to bring a lot of people over to listening to podcasts over there because Spotify introduced podcasts in the last year, I think, or something like that. And they've been trying to make it happen, but they can't steal the space from like Apple, right? They just can't. Nobody. It's the #1 streaming app, but for music. So it's a huge fucking place, Spotify. But no, it hasn't been able to make a splash with podcasts. This is going to change stuff. They got the biggest podcast. They put up fucking money to get him exclusive there, and they're also getting the exclusivities to the YouTube show because he puts it all up full video on YouTube. The only thing he can put up on his YouTube now is clips. So I like watching when he has a good guest on, I'll watch the whole video. I don't mind. I'll be working and I'll listen and I'll kind of have it on. And so now I'll just have to log into Spotify. I mean, it's really no more of a hassle, but it's just, you got to go to a different place. I think it's going to be big. Here's why I think it's good for everybody. Because we're on Spotify, right? I doubt we get that many streams on Spotify. I'm pretty sure it's all fucking Apple followed by Google. And YouTube's even bigger, I'm sure, than Spotify. But the thing is Apple's not going anywhere. I don't think he's going to steal Apple's market because it's just Joe Rogan. Everybody that listens to Joe Rogan, I'm sure, listens to a plethora of other shows on Apple. So all it's going to do is force people to also go over to Spotify. So maybe that'll be high tide raises all ships, right? Now there's awareness over there. Maybe we'll start getting more traffic on Spotify now. And everybody else will. So if you have a podcast out there, I know not everybody's on Spotify because, like I said, it hasn't quite taken off over there. Get on Spotify. At first, when they first launched, I think they were real picky. They were kind of hard to get your shit over there, right? It wasn't easy. And I think then they started like just accepting everybody, kind of like Apple does, or everybody. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting factoid. Hopefully it's a good thing for everybody. But anyway, that's all I got. Zach, you got any last comments?
I'm going to go play Doom Eternal, baby.
Oh, yeah. Did you start it yet?
Hell yes.
Yeah, is it good?
It's fun. It's fun? It's perfect just to fucking listen to podcasts and play.
Did you play the first Doom before it? Is it better than that one? I've heard it's even better. I've heard the mechanics are more fun.
I'm like 30 minutes in. It's fun, though, yeah.
All right, man. I pulled out Mortal Kombat again. I know you think that's just, you don't want to hear about it, but I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11 again, and they got that DLC package, which I could talk about ad nauseum, that's coming out in a couple days. That's way the fuck overpriced. Anyway, I'll save that for another talk. That'll be like a retro rampage that we do. All right, guys, we'll catch you guys later. Like I said, subscribe, stick around, and check us out next week with a new BTM podcast, and then a new episode of Cinema Enema in a few weeks after that. Catch you out later. Bye-bye, puppets.